What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, 7 p.m. This is the Triple Threat Vet Podcast. Thanks for joining the show. I'm Ty Cobb, one of the hosts. We'll get to Matt here in just a few minutes. But I wanted to make sure I do some of the events and announcements we got coming up. We're still selling shirts, still selling the hats. Hit this QR code up, go to Same Flag, Same Oath. We're raising some money for some great veteran service organizations. The Al Hero Mr. Phenomenal hat shirt is for the PTSD Foundation of America, Camp Hope. The Wax Poetic shirt, which is mine, is for a Houston nonprofit for veterans called the Project Zero Alliance. And then, of course, the CEO of our TTV Live Foundation, Triple Threat Vet, Whiskey Stories. This is for benefiting the Texas Veteran Athletic Association. I want to put this on full screen here. This is Becky Jo art. Becky Jo is Matt Johnson's wife, and she is absolutely creative as hell. So check out Becky Jo art across social media. It's art with soul. These are all original that she does, and when I talk about waxing poetic verbally, she waxes poetic on the canvas. So really appreciate that. So be sure and scan this QR code, go to Same Flag, Same Oath, and support some good veteran nonprofits. Last week's guest, Command Sergeant Major Rick Morris, gave some great stories. You've probably seen some of the reels online there. Wonderful guest, one of the mentors of mine in my early career when I was promoted to sergeant. So it's great to hear his story. Before I turn it over to the senior chief moderator, if you want to tell your story, hit us up. Subscribe, hit us up at triplethreatvets@gmail.com, and we'll tell your story, just like we're going to tell the story of Colonel Glenn Moore and his son Hunter. Great story of a soldier, warrior, father, and the bond that he has with his family that I've seen, through when he was my garrison commander at Fort Polk. Great guy. But before we go any further, let's get started with Matt Johnson. What's up, Matt?
Oh, nothing much. It's another Thursday, 7 p.m. Welcome to everybody that's out there. Ty stole my thunder. But we do still sell shirts, guys. So we're coming down to the end of the year. Whether you want to get it for Christmas or New Year's so that you can bring the new year in style with one of those fresh-ass Got Your Six shirts, we need to make sure that we're out there supporting these nonprofits, right? They help our warriors, get back into the swing of civilian life or help them through some battles they're going through. So 3 go-to organizations, 3 great T-shirts, and then don't forget, now to the end of the month, if you buy one of those shirts, you get a hat or a T-shirt 50% off. And if you spend more than $75, we're going to ship it to you for free. So go buy 2 shirts and a hat, and we got you covered. But yeah, anyway, excited to be here. Excited for the holidays. Excited for everything that comes along with that. And I'm excited to talk to our guests today. But before we get into that, unfortunately, guys, there's no rant today. Al Hero needed to take a, what do they call those in the civilian world? A sick day or something? I don't know. He's had a lot of sick days.
You need to, never mind, I won't say it.
What?
I was gonna say he's got to go and change his pad.
He might need to change his pad. But here's my question, bro. You only get so many sick days in the civilian world, bro. Like he's already used those. He's like in the negative balance now, dude.
Yeah, that when I was gonna say that joke, it sounded so much funnier in my head. I'm not telling jokes.
Well, that's probably because you're not a professional comedian.
Yeah, very true.
You know, our family laughs at our jokes. I mean, our family laughs at our jokes just to make us think we're funny. But then when we leave the room, you know, they're like, that motherfucker ain't funny. He tries too hard.
I got adult kids now, so they had no problem letting me know that, Dad, you are not funny and we're not amused at all.
Although I have found that if I joke with my kids the way that I joked with all my buddies while I was in, then they laugh for whatever reason. I guess they do think dumb shit is funny. So, you know, all good. But,
What's
you know,
up, Carlos Calzada? We almost had to call you earlier. Our guest was having some issues getting into the room, so we were going to give him your sage advice, which is turn it off, turn it back on, like any good combat medic would know. You just turn it off and turn it back on. Appreciate you, Los.
There you go. Well, speaking of we're not funny, and speaking of we don't tell good jokes, remember the last time we went to a veteran comedian show, we heard a lot of funny shit, right? About boot camp and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Something about boners in boot camp, right? That's what I hear about.
We were talking about this earlier. Like, we've had a lot of veteran comedians on, Angela Kay, Drew Hernandez, and then, you know, Eric Knowles. So we were talking about like before the show, what can we talk about since Al's not going to be here to try to be funny? And we're like, I don't think that we can come up with anything, but I know the funniest joke I ever heard was boner on the first day of Marine Corps boot camp. So
hell yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, Ty, because I think that we can make everybody happy today, and you don't have to hear our funny shit. You can hear funny shit from an actual funny person. What do you guys think? Think that would be good, right? So I think without further ado, we should bring on our guy, Eric Knowles. He's here with us today because our heroes, you fucking A again.
What's going on, guys?
Oh, nothing much, man. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Just doing the dad thing lately.
Uh-oh. How's that going?
It's going okay. It's just my son, he's 13, you know, so he's like curious now. And he's been grounded for like a year. And he's always like, Dad, when can I get my phone back? You know, and I'm like, when you get a job and get another phone, because I'm done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm tired of making a monthly payment on your little porn machine, you know. Like, that's what he's doing. Every time I check his phone, you know, I'll check his history. He's looking up dirty stuff, you know. But and it's 2025, so the dirty stuff is different now. Like when I was his age, porn was pretty wholesome. But like he's like deep into the categories, this kid, you know. Like apparently his favorite stuff is stepmom stuff, you know. And at first I was kind of like, yeah, you know, but then it clicked, like, wait a minute, that's my wife in this scenario, right? It's like, put on a bra, Mandy. It's getting awkward in here. You know? Yeah, man. But he's like me, but he's just an upgraded version of me. That's the problem with kids today. They have apps.
But I would tell you what, though, Eric, you know, back in the day, though, they may be upgraded versions of us, but they're not smarter than we were. You know what we would have done?
Oh, no.
I would have deleted the browsing history, bro.
Oh, yeah. No, they're not smarter. They just have better technology.
Yeah, they think that they think you don't know how to find that. They're like, he'll never see it. He don't even know how to work this thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
that's crazy.
Eric, what do you got coming up here?
Actually, I'll be in Houston next month, January 16th. I've got my first door deal with a mainstream comedy club at Punchline Comedy Club, which is one of the newest and one of the best in Houston. It's known as one of the best across the country. They have locations in like Philadelphia and all on the West Coast. But this is like my big chance. So, you know, I need the veteran community in Houston to come out and support me to show Punchline that I can be a draw, and then we could do even bigger and better shows.
Nice. So how many veterans are we talking about? How many you need to come out there?
I think it seats like 250.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
We'll just get to the rolls, dude. We'll muster everybody up.
Yeah. Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard, really. That's what I'm thinking.
Not really. I mean, I heard there's like 2 million veterans in Houston, right? Or something like that. If you hear the numbers every day, we should be able to hit that easy. So
Like
all you veterans in Houston
none of
heard,
that.
right? You got to be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to support that and be a part of that, you can find tickets in the little link below, probably, and also on my website on ericknowles.com.
Yeah, we've got the here's the link that takes you directly to all the shows that are going on, and about halfway down the page is his. And then support local comedians, support your local live shows. It's fun as hell. And this man will have you bent over laughing. We went to a show a couple years ago, and literally we were it was an ab workout listening to you, because you talk to yourself, and when you're offline, you're just like one of the guys. And when you get on stage, like, you can see your professionalism, and you of course know what you've done, but I really appreciate you, and I always follow everything you do. So
we will see you there. How about that?
I love it, man. I love it. I look forward to it.
I'm about to go to my favorite brewery and be like, all you fuckers need to go to this show in January, and then we can all go back to the brewery after the show. But before the brewery, we've got to go to this comedy show. I think we can get 5 or 6 people.
Love it.
I'm just kidding. There's more than that.
I already talked to my wife. So my wife says, "Oh, is that guy that was, down at the VFW?" And I was like, "Yeah, the one that we had the ab workout at."
Yeah.
There's 4 right there.
So we will do everything we can to get everybody out there for you, Eric, because you're a funny ass dude, and people need to see that. So, laughter heals a lot of stuff.
Sure does.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me show this slide one more time. This is going to be Friday, January 16th at 9:30 p.m. That's 1204 Cardline Street, Houston, Texas. That's Punchline, Houston. Eric Knowles. He is a Marine Corps veteran. He's been a friend of the show, and wish you nothing but the best, man.
Hey, Semper Fi, y'all.
All right. Yeah. Talk to you later, Eric. That's always fun. It's fun to connect with the guy, because I watch social media all the time, and you see him. He was doing a lot of traveling. He's in Vegas, and half the time I don't know what's real and what's not, and because he's doing all the AI and social media, so it's fun to see him be successful.
Oh yeah, dude!
I think I can see Eric Knowles. He's funny as hell.
I liked watching him play with fire and logs. Did you watch that stuff, dude? That was like, man, and at first you're like, what in the? You're like, is he just bored, or what is he? Is he trying to learn a new skill? It was just hilarious, because you're like, we're just gonna see how this one works, and you're just like, okay. But I was waiting for it to blow up. You know what I mean? Like, I packed it with a little too much. I didn't think it was a lot, and the direction said just fire for effect, so I did. And then but it was funny to see. I'm telling you guys, if you like to laugh, if you like to be entertained, if you like good jokes, I mean, he is definitely the guy to go see, because you're right, Ty. I mean, it is a workout from start to finish with him, as far as laughter and just the things that he talks about. So January 19th, be there.
Yeah, we'll definitely be there. I think CIA Bob's giving us updates on the college shooter. They got some activity, so he's giving us en route updates. Appreciate you, CIA Bob.
Dude, he's on the case, bruh. On the case.
He's on it. So, you about ready to bring on our guest?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm always ready to bring on our guests. That's the reason we do this thing, So I think that now's the time for you to go ahead and give us an introduction, and we can bring him on.
Yeah, like I said, I think last week I said that normally we don't read a lot of bios, but I just want to read this man's bio, because he was my garrison commander right before I got out of the Army in 2017. So from 2013 to 2017, I think he was the garrison commander pretty much the whole time, at least the time I was at G6 there. Mr. T, Glenn Moore, Colonel retired, assumed the duties of installation commander for the Camp Stanley storage activity on 1 October 2020. So he is out of the military now. Mr. Moore was raised as a military brat living in Germany, Turkey, and around the United States before settling in Fort Worth, Texas. He's a big Texas Christian fan that comes up here. He was commissioned as an aviation officer from TCU in 1990. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice from Texas Christian University, Master of Science in Occupational Education from Kansas State. and Master of the Arts in National Security and Strategic Studies from the Naval War College. So very diversified leader, been to a lot of different leadership schools, did every duty leadership assignment from lieutenant to colonel. His active duty assignments took him all over the world. Glenn's command assignments include Company Commander, Company D, 1st Battalion, 58th Aviation Regiment, Air Traffic Services, Company Commander, Company B, 159th Aviation Regiment. That's Fort Campbell, I think. Or maybe that's Polk. Professor of Military Science, Texas State Battalion, ROTC, Battalion Commander, 1st Battalion, 58th Aviation Regiment, ATS, and Garrison Commander at U.S. Army Garrison, Fort Polk. He's a outstanding leader, someone that I looked up to in my time when I was transitioning out of the military. My career came in 98 and we pretty much started deploying. So I didn't have the leadership skills that maybe Matt and Al had from being recruiters, or I never saw things from a macro perspective like the garrison commander, who my office was literally right outside of his whole office. So I got to see a lot of stuff going, and it was very eye-opening and very educational. So without further ado, Colonel retired Glenn Moore and his son Hunter. What's going on?
Not much. I appreciate the intro, and I just want to tell you, both of you, first of all, good evening, and I appreciate very much you having us on. I'm actually quite humbled to even be a part of the show, because you've had some truly awe-inspiring guests prior, some true American heroes like General Petraeus. As you know, my favorite boss of all time, Major General Hickman. I was his chief of staff at Fort Polk, followed by being his the garrison commander. And I'm going to be honest with you, he taught me more in those 3+ years than all my 28 years in the Army of all the commanders I had put together. So it was really good to I watched that show last night, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to have him come on and wax poetic.
You remember, he was tough to understand for some people. I obviously, by being so close to him, could read, I could understand General Hickman. And there was even times at the different meetings, and when people would look at him funny, and he'd look over and say, "Chief, tell him what I said." So I'd have to explain to him what Hickman meant. But
right. You had to translate for him.
Yes. Well, he's a great man, and he's rock solid. He taught me the importance of, transparency, credibility, just ownership, of accountability. His famous saying to me was, look, because I was mad about something that had taken place by a couple individuals. And he said, "Glenn, you need to understand, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to go in today to work and just fuck everything up. And you need to back up. It was an honest mistake, and see if they take ownership." And that hit home.
Yeah. These are the kinds of things that he just came up with all the time. Sir, I'm really looking forward to get into it with you, but we're going to turn it over to Matt and let him start.
I was going to say real quick, you can leave us all on here together, Ty. You can leave us all together. I know that when he just said that word, I saw the look to the other side. Just know you can say whatever you want. It's all good. Because I
heard a couple words from you guys, so I took down the shield. I don't have to say.
When you said it, I saw Hunter look over, and I heard something from the side. I was like, "Uh-oh."
Well, my first 6 months as a civilian, I started holding everybody accountable and really being, making them toe the line and do what they should. And one of the complaints they took to the IG was I cussed. The IG said, "Well, that's an Army language. Get used to it."
Well, so, I mean, curse like a sailor. That's what I used to use as the excuse. However, I've learned though, and it's ironic, because when we were in the military, we would walk around and every other word was a swear word, because that's military communication, right? Those are the best adjectives, verbs, nouns that you can use to describe everything, right? But then when I got out and I would talk to people when I was a civilian, I'd still have the same language, and I would start to notice people are looking at me like, Jesus, dude, like, what is this guy saying? But then it made me think back, like, I don't think they ever looked at me like that when I was wearing a uniform though, right? Like, maybe they were like, military guy, but now I'm not wearing it, and they're like, my goodness, do you know any other?
It's true.
Educated words. I'm like, a whole bunch. You want to hear them? You know?
I did 2 years in corporate. It didn't go real well there. So, but
it's a hard place, man. It's a hard place.
I had a brigade commander when I was a young captain on a range, come out there on the range screaming and yelling, dropping every F-bomb in the world. And he said, you take note of this. Sometimes a very loud, boisterous F-bomb will save a young, dumb A's life. Don't be scared to scream. Okay.
Yep. Very
I
true.
totally agree.
Hey, but real quick, just before we go any further, I do want to say, like I said, I'm very impressed with the show. I'm very impressed with the true American heroes that you brought on. I'm going to say up front, I am no hero. However, the young man, and I say young man, he just turned 18, sitting to my left, your right, to me is a hero, given all the adversity that he has had to overcome with cerebral palsy and dystonia, being told that he was going to live his entire life in a wheelchair. And now look at him. He's living a pretty normal life. And I also need to clarify one thing. Your post on Facebook listed him as an Olympian. He is not an Olympian. He's on Team USA for the International Natural Bodybuilding Association. And he does compete every November against about up to 60 countries. They bring all their teams in and they have a bodybuilding competition. So I didn't want someone to be calling me out for stolen valor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's totally my fault. My daughter's a journalist, so I try to think that I have integrity, but yeah, I just messed that all up. But I mean, I do want to show this photo. Yep. I mean, he, like you said, his nickname is the Beast. And I remember, when he was not this big, and, I don't remember how many years ago. So I guess 2014 through 2017, I've been following your story since then, Hunter. And man, you look good as hell. This is amazing what you're doing. And so I love your dad and hearing what you guys have been through and what you've bonded with together. Can't wait for Matt to get into this interview.
All right.
Yeah. Well, first I would like to say that I appreciate you saying that you're not a hero, as much as that sounds weird, but we like to think on our show that everybody we bring on that served their country is a hero, because not very many people will step up, answer the call, and go do what it is to keep America free. I just wish that we could have more of that patriotism today, like we've had forever. I think it's coming back. But thank you for your service, and I can't wait to talk to you, because I've heard a lot of great things about you, just like everybody else we've brought on that served with Ty. Amazing leaders and soldiers that we get to talk to. And I'm excited to hear Hunter's story too, because that is one that if you're watching today, I don't care what your excuse is. I don't care who you want to blame. I don't care why you think the brick wall is already dried and there. Hunter's going to show you that no matter what it is that's the obstacle in front of you, you can make it over that and you can do whatever you want. That is like a dream right there. And I'm proud to be able to talk to you today and get to learn more about you guys. Going into that, what we like to do here, I'm sure you've seen some of our shows, is we really like to get to know you guys a little bit better. So what I would like to do is start off with, just a little bit of an introduction. Glenn, if you could kind of walk us through where you're from, where'd you grow up? Tell us about what it was like for you as a kid and what led you up into going into the Army. And then as we go through, Hunter, we're going to definitely get you to do an introduction as well. But we like to go from start to finish a little bit, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you want me to carry on from where I grew up all the way through what brought me into the Army?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'd like to, before I even go into that, I just want to say, I don't know what you've been told about Ty, but I tell you, he was the consummate professional, and you could really depend on him, and he busted his ass for us at Fort Polk. So he was truly, it was great having someone with that caliber and character around. So with that said,
I appreciate you saying that, sir.
I remember you very, very clear, very well throughout all those days. And even when we had to go over to Mr. Colonel Burleson and let him know, or Colonel Burleson and General Hickman, and let him know that we had a spillage. And that was tough to do. So anyways, neither here nor there. Yes, I grew up, I like to say I grew up in Fort Worth. However, I was an Army brat, like they said earlier. And so I spent a little bit of time all over the world. My parents got married very, very young, and my dad got my mom pregnant, and it was an unwanted pregnancy, and I was the product. So, we traveled a lot. I spent 2 different 3-year periods in Germany, once in Munich, once in Frankfurt. I actually went to 4th, 5th, and 6th grade there in Frankfurt. Then we spent some time at Fort Hood, 3 years. It's a great place, not. And then we also spent time at Fort Polk, and we spent time in Wichita Falls, Texas. And each move, we went back and forth to Fort Worth. I will tell you, my time as a military brat, and plus my dad was a hard man. He really was. He's passed. God bless him. Both parents have passed, but he never forgave me for my mom's pregnancy. So it was rough growing up under that pretense. He was very emotional and physically pretty much beat the hell out of me quite often. So anyways, so my childhood was kind of rough, and I kind of blamed part of it on the military. I didn't like moving because being a military dependent, if you're not one, you don't understand the vicious cycle. Because you go in, you're the new kid, especially as a boy, and you got to prove yourself. That's probably going to be a couple fights. And then you don't really have friends, and you make a friend. You generally get one best friend, and then that person moves. And now you're the middle of the road kid on a 3-year tour, and you meet a new person coming in as your friend, and then you leave, and you got to start over. So, each move was about 1 to 2 best friends. So, and I'm telling you a lot of this because I really had a lot of, I did not want to go in the military. We did not want to even touch the service. However, as we go on, you will see how I went into the service. But I will tell you, it was the greatest decision I ever made. I have enjoyed every second of it. There is nothing like serving this great nation, developing and mentoring the future leadership of this great nation, and doing what we all have done in the military. The civilian world has no idea how great it is. So, it takes me up, through right before going into college and going into the military. And I don't know if you want me to step into that now or wait.
Yeah, no. So I was going to say, like, you and I are kind of parallel only because I was a military brat growing up, right? I grew up in Germany, in Bitburg. I was at Fort Polk. I joined the Navy out of Fort Hood. I was a product of Ellison High School in Killeen, Texas. And I also forever, my mom and my stepfather would always, hint, you should join the military, right? And I was always like, no, sir. I see you. My stepfather was on a linebacker, whatever that was back then. So he was always in the fields, cleaning tracks, going here, going there, always gone. And used to see all that, in the Army. The field would come up, and I used to never understand, right? Like how you just find out you had to go out there, right? You always used to be like, whatever, and then when you join, you figure out real quick that it happens all the time. But I was the same way. I was like, I'm not going. And it's ironic that you say that. Like it's kind of a parallel path there. But I mean, growing up for you, I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but you said it was pretty rough. And do you have any siblings, brothers, sisters?
I do. I've got a younger brother and a younger sibling. And no, it's not rough to talk anymore about any of it. I don't harbor any ill will against my father. He's passed. And as you will see the parallel of my son and I, one of the driving forces that I had in life was I had to prove my father wrong. Mm-hmm. By God, I was going to do whatever it took to prove him wrong, because he always said I would amount to nothing. He always said that I would never go to school and I would never go to college. I just needed to drop out of high school and enlist in the Army like he did. And again, I didn't want anything to do with it, but part of my roughness was my father was very mentally, emotionally, and physically abusive. I used to, if I got hit on the butt with something, that was a great day, because generally it was either a belt coming across my back or a knuckles across the head. So, and it's funny, Ty, when I was the garrison commander, I would have soldiers or soldiers' wives coming to me wanting to complain because they saw Sergeant so-and-so spank their child at the commissary on their butt. I'm like, where in the hell were you people when I was getting knocked to the floor?
They were also getting their ass beat, and they were like, never again, never again.
So it gave me a burning inner desire. Even on his deathbed, he tried to apologize, and there was no reason to apologize at that point because that's what has driven me my whole life. And so I was determined I was going to go to college, damn it. Now, in high school, I was not the smartest. I was not the most disciplined. I'll be honest with you. I only cared about one thing, and that was the opposite sex. I didn't care about the grades. I did care about enough just to graduate. And so when I went to speak to the counselor, and she said, you're graduating with a 2.8, you're like 101 out of 190. She goes, and I said, well, I'd like to go to TCU. And she kind of laughed. And she's like, you're not going to college. You are going to a trade school. And I have nothing against trade school, but I had everything to prove to my father and prove to myself. And, and luckily, at that point, I was the first college or high school graduate in my entire family. My brother and sister, God bless them, they went on behind me. And they had it rough, but not as rough as I did because they were planned pregnancies. My father had enlisted and he wanted to go to OCS. Well, that went on pause after I was born. Neither here nor there. So now I got another person telling me I can't go to college. So after a couple of very traumatic incidents with my father and me fighting and a pistol, I left and I went to live with my grandparents. And I applied to TCU. They laughed. They not only could I not afford it, but I didn't have the grades. So I went to a junior college and did probably a year and a half there. And then I went to University of Texas, Arlington, and built up my GPA. And one day I was in the gym, and one of the guys I used to work out with came walking in BDUs in a Go bar. And I'm like, hey, Cone, what the heck? Are you in the Army? And he goes, yeah, well, I'm a Go bar recruiter for TCU. I went through their ROTC. Long story short, he worked with me, got me tutors, and I was able to get in, and I received a 3-year full pay Army ROTC scholarship. So I went from I'm not going, but hey, this is a way now for me to financially get into the college of my dreams and give me some training. I was also told by
the Army was just like the catalyst to get you to TCU, right? No intention or no thought of only like I'm gonna go do this and then do the time after just because it pays for my college. Was that the original thought?
I was going to do as little as possible and get the heck out. And
me too. I was like, dude, I got to do this and then I'm out. I'm gonna get my degree. I didn't.
Well, that's what I was going to do. And Cole told me, don't worry about it. You can apply for National Guard or Reserve and do your time there and stay where you're at. Okay. Well, I put my packet in when it came time to branch. I said, you know what? I want to do National Guard, then Reserves. And then, of course, you have to put active. I was a dummy. I still only had a 2.9 GPA. I still wasn't disciplined. And I still was chasing the wrong, it was a 60-40 mix of females to males. And I was a Kappa Sig in a fraternity. So I had the wrong priorities. However, when the branching came back, I got active duty. But I did get my first branch choice, aviation, which I was ecstatic about that. But I was like, how did this work? I told my buddy, you told me I didn't have to go active. Well, I had to go active. He's
like, well, you also didn't have to get a 2.0 GPA and you did that. You know what I mean?
Well, it was interesting. Like I said, I got a business administration scholarship. And after about 6 months, I'm like, this ain't for me. And I changed to economics. That wasn't for me. I changed to political science. And next thing you know, I changed one other, and I went to go see the counselor there. I said, this is what I've accumulated. I have to graduate next year. I can't afford this school. And I have to graduate. I got to pay it back. What can I take? And she looked at everything and said, well, there's one degree left, and that is criminal justice. I said, all right, I'm there. And of course, ironically, every class I went to had every TCU football player in the class, so I felt pretty good. Anyways, the ROTC didn't like that. They boarded me. They wanted to put me out because I, didn't stay business. But the Army said no, keep him. So it was like fate was pushing me.
Yeah, it's ironic with a lot of the leaders that you talk to or you get to hear talk anywhere. Doesn't matter what you listen to, whether it's a podcast, you see them on you read an article, whatever. A lot of the leaders like you, sir, are like, I didn't want to do any of this. And then 30 years later, everybody's like, are you sure though? Because the impact that you make and the things you go do is like, you may not have wanted to do it, but you settled in pretty good as you got in. So, and you're right. It's fate. Like they were like, we're going to get them one way or another. So because you changed your major, they wanted to put you out.
They wanted to kick me out of the program and make me pay all that money back, which TCU is not cheap.
It took them like 3 times of you changing to catch that you changed the major?
I changed it 4th time, and that's when they caught me.
No, that's what I'm saying. It took 3 times you changed it. They were like, whatever, he's just playing. The 4th time is when they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, but the Army's like, we've already spent this much money on the guy.
Yep.
Let's keep going. And at the end of the day, now that I've been, I've got 2 master's degrees, not that matters, but I was determined to excel in the Army, and the Army kept giving me opportunities later to go to the grad school and the National War College, the Naval War College. So I did some Navy time. Anyways, and here at the installation that I run as a civilian, I've never asked anybody, what was your degree? All I care about, do you got a diploma so you can check the box? I don't care.
That is the most ironic thing to me on the planet, to be honest with you. Is like I also have college degrees. I went and got them because I was told as a kid, super important, you need your degree. And then you read these job descriptions, says you need a degree, right? And I've applied for jobs and gotten jobs, and nobody's ever asked to see my diploma.
No.
So
they never asked me for my GPA, thank God.
Oh, dude, I don't even the GPA. That's just the number. I got the piece of paper to say that I finished the program. You know what I mean? Like I'm good to go there. But it's ironic because they don't ever look at it, right? And so it's kind of like, man, but they want you to go to college to spend all that money anyway, here nor there.
And that's true, but that's where I will say took advantage, but the Army was a catalyst to get me through that. It got me to where I could prove my father wrong, the counselor, and myself. So it left no doubt. But then my first duty station, I went to flight school. Man, that was cool. That's back when, Top Gun was big. So in my mind, I was a Top Gun. And when I'd come home on leave, I'm a military pilot. I wouldn't tell them I'm an Army helicopter pilot, but I would tell them. Yeah.
You was wearing your flight suit everywhere?
As much as I could. But anyways, I went to Schwäbisch Hall, Germany. I was determined. I was going to do 3 years max there. I had to do 3 more years to pay back my flight school to a total of 6, and I was getting out. And I was calling PERSCOM every night for the first probably 90 days of how can you get me out of here. But, I was very fortunate. Again, God interceded there. Shortly after I got there, the unit was doing a lot of rotations to Operation Provide Comfort, going over to feed the Kurds and such post Desert Storm. And, being a Chinook pilot, that was a big platform for that. Well, they had combined the 2 flight platoons. So it was 18 aircraft, 36 crew chiefs and flight engineers, and then 27 warrant officers. And that's generally a captain, senior captain that has something like that in aviation. Well, we were short people. Well, the commander called me in and said, we just fired the lieutenant. I won't say his name. You got the ball, you're on the 1 yard line. You either score or you're getting fired, but you're now the platoon leader. Well, here I came from college, going to flight school, and now I'm in charge of 36 combat veterans,
wow.
27 combat veteran pilots. It's like a $300-something million hand receipt, and they're trusting me with all this.
They definitely did not look at your GPA.
No, they didn't. But ironically, the platoon was in disarray. I mean, they had not been taken care of. They hadn't they had probably 75% of the soldiers, because all the TDY had no paid dues, and it was not too long from Christmas. And, I got told the morning of a Christmas party that we had with the company. And, and like I said, I'm a young man. I think I'm Mr. Texan. I throw on this big duster, put the cowboy hat on. The commander calls me to the office, tells me. So I show up at the party. And probably the meanest E7 I ever seen in my life walked up to me. And he had a strong Puerto Rican accent. And he said, I'm going to tell you right now, blankety blank, LT. I fired the last guy. I got him fired, and we don't want you. We will get you fired. I'm like, holy crap, I'm in trouble. I could talk for hours about Domingo Lopez because he became the strongest mentor I ever had. But it took me gaining his credibility, such as grabbing I told him get 4 TMP buses, load everybody up, bring cots, bring bedding. We're going to go to Fifth Corps up in Frankfurt, and we're getting everybody paid. We're going to get them through Christmas. So we went up there. He walked in with me as I went to I said, give me the senior ranking person, and I got some major. And I told him, as a second lieutenant, I've got 30 folks here, 32 actually, warrant officers in the list that haven't been paid or they have no pay dues. Christmas is in a week and a half. We're not leaving, and you're going to pay them. So I was told to relax. I told the platoon sergeant to get all the cots out, get all the bedding out, and start unloading it downstairs. And anyways, long story short, everybody left there with a paycheck. Everybody got paid.
So for anybody that's not following along, this is before direct deposit, y'all. Okay.
Yes.
So that's back. So what was the issue? Like, just so we can go back there, walk through, like, that's a pretty big issue for you to walk into. Was that an issue that was also going on when the last guy was there that never got fixed? Or like, what was the reason that was a problem? Because a lot of people will hear what you say there and they're like, didn't get paid. Like they don't understand, they don't know what that's like. So if you could walk them through that, or what was the situation there?
The lieutenant, the platoon sergeant later, he told me straight up when he told me he's going to get me fired. He said the last lieutenant didn't care about anything but himself. We came to him with pay issues after pay issues after pay issues. He would not, he kept saying, let the system work it. And we would go through the system and we would get no pay dues. Or a couple got paid and they would take the money back. So he never took and confronted the problem. We were a little bitty base with probably 400, 500 people on the base. Schwäbisch Hall, Germany, it's been closed. And we had a finance out of Heilbronn who further fell underneath Fifth Corps up in Frankfurt. Well, Heilbronn is, like I said, it's been closed. They didn't care. Who's this Schwäbisch Hall? Who is this Alpha Company, 1st to 159th? And anyways, I had to prove to this E7 that I wasn't about myself. It was my time to take care of that company, and I had to get them paid before Christmas. And so once I did that and got them paid, it was like the light turned on for him. And he said, look, I'm going to work with you and I'm going to make you a good, there's a couple other issues I took care of, but I'm going to make you a good officer. You are going to be at PT with me at 5 a.m. in my office before we go to actual PT, and you're going to be there every day. He goes, you are going to be the leader of this group. All right, Domingo. So every morning at 5 a.m., whether I drank all night or not, I'd be sitting in front of 87's desk, and he just taught me one of the most valuable lessons that I have still carried to this day. He said, get to know your troops, know their names, know their spouses, know their marital status, know their children's names, know the hobbies of all of them. Get to know them and listen to them. If you listen to these soldiers, because they want to talk to you, if you listen, they will tell you what motivates and drives them. And then you know how and what type of leadership style you need to use. He goes, yes, there's always that time that the authoritarian, top-down driven needs to happen. But if you can learn to know your soldiers, like I have done that even now with my civilian employees, they want to talk. and they will build trust with you. It'll break down that barrier of subordinate superior. And
so I got a quick question for you on that real quick. I don't mean to interrupt the thought. No. I was wondering though, coming from the upbringing that you had, the family life that you had, pretty much, you know, you're not going to be anything. You're not going to make it. You can't do it. Basically nobody cares about me or what I'm doing. When you are hearing this first sergeant tell you, you need to get to know these people. You need to know their family. You need to know their kids. I'm just curious for you in that moment, how did you take him telling you that, and what was going through your mind? Because I'm sure hearing him say that is, I don't want to say I'm sure, but I would guess like that's a foreign concept to you in some way, right? You didn't grow up like that. You're never going to get it. It's not going to work. You're not going to do it. And now you have somebody telling you, you need to get to know all these people and give a shit. Like, what was the thought process there? Like, was that a difficult transition? How did they weigh on you? I'm just curious how your thought process was in going through these conversations with him.
No, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was like a sponge at that point. Well, for one, that was the meanest E7 I'd ever met in my life. But two, I wanted to succeed. I wanted to, you know what? Here's my time to shine. I've been given basically a company size element of, as a second lieutenant. I got this E7 with 20 plus years, combat tours that has basically told me I'll get you fired like I did last guy. Now I've got him at least believing in me, and he wants to teach me, and I want to learn from him. So that's how I went into it. I mean, as a matter of fact, he made me go out and do all the crew chief training with all the crew chiefs. He said, you've got to know what their jobs are. Yeah. So I'd get out in the cold, snow, and I'd be out there with them at 4:30 in the morning, pre-flighting an aircraft as they taught me. He really took his time. And I was a sponge. It's like, my God, I got someone who's actually believing in me. I'm not going to fail him.
Oh, there you go. So that's kind of where I was hoping that you would take that, right? Because it's probably the first time that someone is it's like shown an interest, but wanted to bring you along to say, hey, you're going to be really good at this, but you got to learn it, right? And it's almost like that, like you said, he became your strongest mentor, right? That's that first person that told you, I'm going to bring you in and we're going to learn this, which makes sense now being the sponge, right? It's just, it's amazing that it works like that,
He took it to this point. Some people would get offended. I was not. But we started day one. He had 3 or 4 whiteboards, and he had every soldier and their spouse status, their marital status, their spouse's name, children that they had them, their names, and any hobbies of all of them. Then we transitioned over time to where it was flashcards.
Yeah.
He'd say, Specialist Irvine. What's his name? What's his status? What's his hobby? On and on and on. And we would go over it every morning.
Yeah, that's the good old check-in sheet right there, bro. The soldier, the sailor, they check in, they sit down with their chief, their E7 or above, and they're like, hey, Joe, your name's Joe, right? Cool. What's your wife's name? How long you been married? What are your kids' names? What's your anniversary? What's your birthday? And they're writing it on the piece of paper. Thank God when I was in, we had Outlook, right? You could set the reminders. So I didn't have to carry around flashcards, but I knew a lot of senior leaders, master chiefs, equivalents for him in the Navy that if they were going out to visit sailors on a day, they would pull whichever sailors could be in their direct communication path that day. They're pulling that stuff up the day before and kind of going through it just so that it refreshes to them, and everybody used to think like, man, that guy knows everyone. But here's the thing is like, we didn't know everybody off the top of our head, but what it showed me is like that he cares enough to make sure he knows when he's going out there. It's impossible to know everything, but taking the time to learn about those people going in. That's why when you're telling me he had it written down on a board, he was ready to go, like he's doing that check-in sheet and just making sure that he's got all that pertinent information, right? Because, morale lifts up sometimes if you just walk in and tell your soldier like, hey, man, today's your anniversary. Congratulations, you're leaving at 12. They're like, wait, what? How'd you even know it was my anniversary? You know what I mean? Like when you surprise people, or it's your kid's birthday today. Happy go spend time with your kid, go to lunch with them or something. When you give people that, they're like, man, how did he know that? And that little thing means more than extra days off. It means more than, getting an award for the work you're doing, because now I know something personally about you, what you've done or about your family, and things that we say should be important to you, but we're not always able to do. You know what I mean? Like, you're not always able to recognize those days. Sometimes operational commitments come in, but when we were able to do that, it was a good thing.
Well, he told me day one, he said, if you can walk up to Specialist Joe or Private Snuffy and you can say, hey, how are you doing? How, your Lions football team looked good the other day. Oh, by the way, how's your wife Jill doing? Or, hey, is little Tommy still playing football? How did the game go last weekend? He goes, they will love you. They'll follow you to hell and back.
Yep.
He goes, but the officers that walk around here thinking they're going to command and lead with their rank, we'll get them fired every time. And
so I'm interested to know from your perspective, just going into that a little bit. So what, and I'm foreign to this because I don't know, I was in the Navy, but what is traditionally the relationship between junior officers and your senior enlisted 7, 8s, and 9s? Is there a known mentorship relationship there? Is there like a go to your E7s and talk to them, or like, what is that line like between a junior officer and your senior enlisted guys? Because in the Navy, chiefs, senior chiefs, master chiefs, 7, 8s, and 9s, we're like the middle, right? Our job is to develop junior officers and bring sailors up, right? So we're constantly mentoring up and down. It's kind of the job that we have to do. It's what we're taught to do when we're going through our transition process to become a chief. I'm interested to know, because it sounds a lot like this guy was that for you. He's like, bring you under the wing. Let me tell you how we do it. This is what these guys need. And if you give it to them, you're going to succeed. So it's almost like it's a mirror image of what chiefs do with officers in the Navy. I'm interested to see, did you see that a lot afterwards, or was that something that you encouraged?
Did I see it a lot afterwards? No. I was very fortunate because Sergeant Domingo Lopez was determined, once he saw that, hey, he's going to go out and go to bat for us. Now I'm going to bring him under my wing and teach him. Up and down mentorship is very important, but it's a two-way street. You got to have the officers got to be able to accept the mentorship and be open about it and be hungry for it, just as the senior NCO needs to be, wanting to give that. So I've seen it on occasions. I tried to push it even with my civilians, but it's tough. It's a personality thing, or it depends on the, some people, they think, I don't need mentorship. I'm a retired whatever, or I am a captain. What's this E7 going to mentor me about? Well, you know what, guy? He's going to mentor you a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a personality. But, I do it today. Here I am, a retired colonel. I've been in command of this installation now for 5 years. And everybody knows when we get a new person, bring them to my office. Mm-hmm. And I got a string of questions right away. Where are you from? Where are you from in the real world? What brought you here? What's your spouse's name? Are you married? Do you have children? What are they doing? Are they in school? Where are they going to go to school? What's your favorite sports team? And what sport do you follow? And that's become, I can't go anywhere on that base without somebody giving me crap because the Dallas Cowboys are about to get out of the playoffs.
They're about to do their usual.
Oh, they
got you excited in the beginning, and then they took a dump at the end.
But
it works, man.
You know what? It brings along morale. Yeah. It really does help build a bond, especially amongst a large, a group of people like that. And my phone will ding all night during the Cowboys game, and it's everybody giving me shit.
I love it.
And you know what? I love it. It's great. Yeah. So that E7.
That's the one thing is, in the military, you have, your officers, you're enlisted, but when it came to sports teams, it was like all bets is off, right? Nobody ever took offense if you said their team sucked, right? You'd be like, whatever, we're going to win this year. And that is always the space where everybody can be themselves, it feels like, right? So sports is always a great, icebreaker for people because, they have their team, they love them. And then if you don't think they're good or they're your rival, you can talk trash about it. And it never feels personal, you know what I mean? But you can
Right.
still have that banner into it, which is amazing. And how many, not to brush over everything you've done, how many total years did you do?
I did 28 and a half on active duty, and I had a very unique transition that I could not turn down.
Okay.
So I was at the Naval War College teaching, because when I got done with my degree, they asked me, would you like to stay for a year or two and teach? It's great family time. My God, it was unbelievable. And you would, we'll send you to Afghanistan after about the 2-year mark. Okay, I'll do that. Well, one of my, and you'll remember this name, Ty, one of my, the IG there at Fort Polk. Do you remember Casey Teague?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I worked with him a lot. And obviously Fort Polk had its problems like we all do. Anyways, Casey's father is a CEO of a big oil enterprise. And, Casey wanted to stay at Fort Polk and be a PAO. It's been a great job. His father wanted to bring him on and bring him into corporate. And so I helped talk and influence Casey into going to spend time with his father and just see what it's all about. And he came back saying, thank you, sir. I am leaving the Army. I'm going to go work for my dad. Well, at his retirement, his father said, what's your goal? I understand that your oldest boy's in 8th grade, and when he graduates, you want to get him in one high school. And I said, yes, sir. The Army's going to let me keep my family here at Rhode Island, send me to Afghanistan, then to the Pentagon. That's the best I can do, because I want to give my son one high school. I didn't get that. Mm-hmm. He said, okay, I hear you. Well, then about 2 months later, Casey calls and my dad wants to talk to you. Okay. So I talked to him, and he basically thanked me for everything. And he said, I'd like to set you up a week worth of interviews, and I'd like you to come in. You need to spend your 4 years with your family of high school with him, watch him play football, and you need to do it in Texas. And so I came back, did a week's worth of interviews, and got hired direct by a CEO of an oil company, oil and gas. I went back and called the Army and said, I'm retiring. They said, no, you're not. You owe the Army. No, I don't owe anything. No, you
not
do.
Anymore.
We've given you all these commands, because I was a command track, 5 commands, very little staff. We've given you a break here at Rhode Island. Now you owe us. No, I'm not a dummy. And they're like, well, your board is in January. This is November. I said, look, I'm not dumb either. If I was even going to have a chance, somebody would have whispered in my ear. I'm not a young captain. You can't lead me by my, by that promise or whatever, false promise. Anyways, long story short, they tried to stop it. I sent a letter back talking about my son's medical at the time, how he needed to be stabilized in the San Antonio area. And I also sent the offer letter that I'd already been hired. And I said, basically, you're going to affect my son. So they said, okay, uncle. And they let me take my uniform off on March 31st. And I flew to Texas, started work in corporate on April 1st.
Nice.
So it's
a good day. Good day.
That's
the Chief Petty Officer birthday right there.
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest with you. I learned the hard way. Leadership in corporate versus the military, that was no-go for me. I did 2 years. COVID came. They closed all the offices. They wanted to move us to Houston, and I wasn't going to Houston. I had a child at the time really dealing with some severe medical issues. And I was a retired colonel. I had 100% disability. I'll just retire. And because I did not like the corporate world. It's not about taking care of your employees. It's not about taking care of anything but that stock holder and that share price. It's a very selfish service. And by being in the military, we are all about selfless service and serving and doing something patriotic for this great nation, something bigger than yourself. And oil and gas is not. So
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that you find out real quick is that I think that's what scares a lot of civilian companies when they interview military guys. You know, they ask you all the traditional questions about this employee's not having a good day, they're falling behind on this, or they're coming into work late, and they give you all the reasons that you would write the employee up and fire them. And our first response is always like, "Man, I'm going to make sure they're doing okay." And they're like, "Wait, what?" Yeah, like if they're late to work, like, is there something wrong at home? Is everything all right? Maybe I can help them. They're like, oh shit, like this guy cares. You're too qualified or whatever. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So I want to go switch gears a little bit if we can.
yeah,
Hunter is in the building. So Hunter, if you can for us, we're going to get into a little bit about you as well now. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us whatever that we would want to know about you, and just like a quick introduction, if you could, and then we're going to go into a little bit of your story as well.
Okay, my name is Hunter Moore. I'm 18 years old. I just turned 18 this past beginning of the November, and I have left side cerebral palsy. I was diagnosed with it when I was born. The doctor said that I had a twin, and it died off in utero inside the womb. And they said that I had a stroke, which caused me to have cerebral palsy whenever I was born. The doctors told me that I would never walk, never talk. I would be living in a wheelchair and be stuck with my parents and just basically drooling on myself. And ever since I learned about that, I've always had this drive and this determination because my parents have always told me I can do whatever I want in life, and that just because the doctors say one thing, that's not true. And so now I'm 18. I've played multiple sports when I was little. I played soccer all the way up to about 7th grade. And then also in 7th grade, I started playing tackle football. And I played football all the way up until about sophomore year of high school. And that's whenever I started getting big into working out and like going to the gym and stuff and posting online. And one of my dad's friends, Cone, texted him after he saw one of my posts and asked me if I wanted to do bodybuilding. And so long story short, I've done, I think, 8 shows since then. I fell in love with it completely after the first show. And I've competed at 3 Natural Olympias.
Nice. I love that, man. Congratulations.
he's got a 21-inch bicep right there.
Yeah. I'm jealous, dude, to be honest.
That's his coach who convinced him what I could not convince him, and that's you got minimal use of your left arm, strap it to the bar, make it work out. So he does. He can deadlift 485 pounds
so
and most with that right arm.
Dad, just so you know, it doesn't matter if you say it. You don't know what you're talking about. It's going to take someone else to say the same thing, and then it registers, right? Because my dad, you know, we're parents. We don't know anything. I got kids too. They do the same shit. It just happens. But so I would like to back up with both of you real quick. You know, Hunter, you're born. You have the challenges that you're going to overcome. So Glenn, for you, I know that you said coming up to wanted him to go to the same high school for 4 years. Sounds like you could have been up for promotion to pick up the next rank that probably almost every military guy that if you were to look at a military guy, you would say that's what they live for, right? That's the ultimate pinnacle, you know, like being in the Navy as an enlisted guy, the pinnacle is to become a chief petty officer. And if you get out before that, then, you quit, or, you know how it goes when they talk about ascending to those pinnacles. So I would just like, from your perspective, right, it sounds like, you know, that's the point where you said it's got to be all about my family. Like, walk us through that portion of it, because you made it sound super great. I sent him a letter. I told him I had a job, and then I was out. But I'm sure there was a lot of other things that came along with that, right? Like going through this journey. Walk us through, if you guys both could, about the journey and how it went, and you know what it was like to get to the point where you're bodybuilding, competing, playing soccer. Like, there was a lot of hard work that had to get to that. I would be very just interested, you know, and I'm sure our audience would, on what that journey was like for the both of you.
Well, before you do that, I do want to say this. We've talked, you know, we've seen him demonstrate his leadership philosophy, and I witnessed this very closely for 4 years before I got out, and it had a tremendous effect on me even till today. I've heard a lot of those stories that he talks about, you know, whether it through him just coming by my office and asking me about the Jacksonville Jaguars, or, you know, he sold me my first Harley Davidson. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, sir. Sorry.
No,
And
you're cool.
just
Statute of limitations.
yeah, we've seen the philosophy, the command philosophy. But I remember when I came to buy that motorcycle, your wife was an angel. She was a wonderful woman. So when you go back and talk about your and Hunter's bond, which I really want to talk about, can you talk about your wife, where you met your wife, and kind of how y'all moved through it briefly before you go into Hunter?
Sure. Okay. I like to joke about my wife saying that it was the greatest blind date of her life. However, in reality, it was the greatest blind date of my life. And where it was is I was in Savannah, Georgia. I'd just gotten back from Korea. One of my warrant officers was dating a girl from her hometown up in middle Georgia. And I just said, hey, why don't you set me up on a date? Anyways, long story short, we went out on a blind date and wound up dating, and we dated for 2.5 years before we got married. And, you know, I knew then that, one, she was going to be a great mother. I could just tell by the way she carried herself and such. But more importantly, I knew that she was made to be a military spouse. That's got to be the hardest, most unsung hero position, or heroine job there is. And, you know, she dealt with at least five deployments of mine, to include, you know, I was in Afghanistan. You know, we got pulled out of CGSC in 2002 saying, you're going to Afghanistan and you're going to leave your wife there in Savannah. Literally, went from being a student. I dropped my wife off in an empty house, no household goods, went to Afghanistan unknowingly that she was pregnant with my firstborn, and had to leave her and then come back. I'm thinking, all right, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have, you know, I'm going to be a father. And I get orders that get called that we're going straight to Iraq for the invasion, even though we only been home roughly 90 to 100 days. I don't remember what it was exactly. Well, we had to make a medical decision. We took my oldest boy via C-section 10 days early so I could hold him and meet him a bit before I had to hand the screaming child over to my wife and leave him with her. She's been to hell and back, but she's been strong. She held together the family readiness group that was just pissed because we were doing back-to-back rotations basically. And this is early on during all that. And Lisa took it head on. She did a great job. She learned how to bring the loudest, most boisterous people and pull them close and make them part of the issue, you know, part of the problem solving instead of being defiant with them. She's been a great mother. You know, 2000, you know, that was in 2003 when my oldest was born. In 2007, Hunter was born, and he was born with a clean bill of health at first. However, my wife, who spent a lot of time with him, and I was gone to several camps and such, she's like, there's something wrong, Glenn. His left arm just dangles. His left leg dangles. And long story short, he never crawled. He just scooted around. We got early childhood interventionist when he was about 4 to come in and check him out. They say, get him to a neurologist, have an MRI done. We was in San Antonio. I was at San Marcos. And we got an idiot doctor, a moron. He couldn't explain what had happened, looked at his MRI and just basically said he had a vascular explosion. I don't know, but he's got cerebral palsy. Okay, well, what are we going to do? And what caused this? Well, long story short, I was up for battalion command first look, and I had put my name in. And by God, I was going to do it. And my wife and I talked and said, you know, maybe this isn't the right time to go into battalion command. Maybe you got to put your career on hold, which, you know, that's dangerous, and put him as the priority. And Lisa was right. I did. I took my name out of the running a week before they released the list. I had every general officer calling me, screaming and yelling at me. And I explained, I got a child that had a stroke. He's not going to walk. He's going to be in a wheelchair. Long story short, they let me pull my name without prejudice as long as I competed the next year. I did. And bottom line is, it got him stable. My wife, who was the biggest help of all, was right there to take care of Hunter before I went back to deploy again as a battalion commander, leaving her with a child that couldn't walk. I mean, couldn't really talk, just scooted around. We kind of taught him some hand and sign language, like when he was hungry. But anyways, one of the things we did do was bank his cord blood. Why, I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I could spend 30 minutes telling you about God spoke to me the night before his birth, said, I know something you don't. Anyways, we banked the cord blood. That gave us 2 stem cell infusions. And I'm going to tell you, that changed his whole life. And, after the first one, within, 6 weeks to 2 months of working with him every night, walking him with a strap around his chest, holding up the walking wings, he stood up because I was getting ready to go back to Iraq. He stood up and walked over to me and said, Dad. And we got it on video, so it's a great thing. But bottom line is, I had to leave again, and Lisa was there holding down the fort from my oldest son. My youngest son, who was just starting to walk, we had to take him every 3 months to Cook Children's Hospital, Pediatric Stroke Center, and get him Botox shots up to 24 to 28 at a time, up and down his left arm, left side. And I would have to hold him down with him screaming and yelling. Well, while I was gone, Lisa was responsible for getting him to the doctor and getting all of that done. So I can't sing her praises enough. She's been a blessing and a dream come true.
Warrior.
Yeah, I remember seeing all the videos of you being a lone snapper in high school, Hunter, and so we've heard a lot from your dad about what it was like, as from a parental unit, your mom and your dad. And so the thing that I kind of want to talk about now, and I know Matt's going to get into it with you, but the bond that is demonstrated, and that we talk about, glazing people, and you talk about, just, I like to wax poetic about the family bond that was demonstrated by your family, by your dad, and then what I saw happen on Facebook, what I heard about, when he was passing through the office. I love your family, and now I'm done now, Matt. But let's get into talk to Hunter about what it was like for him, one being a military brat, moving around, and what was that like? Let's get into it with Hunter, Matt.
Yeah, well, first off, Hunter, I am so sorry that you had to experience Newport, Rhode Island. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So anyway, yeah. So go into a little bit, Hunter. Here's what's crazy is your dad was a military brat. Now you're a military brat, right? That's how it works. What was it like for you growing up? I mean, you were doing the moving, you were going. What was that like for you?
I'd say it was really hard for me. Until we moved to Texas, it was really hard for me in some states, especially with my disability. Not only moving to new schools every 2-3 years, but also having a disability, so I stick out from everyone. And I'm the new kid, and what's wrong with his arm? Why does he walk like that? And so starting around when I first started going to school, Louisiana, it was pre-K to kindergarten. Whenever I was that young, that's when I first started to realize, whoa, I'm different than everyone else. What's wrong with me? And I would have kids ask me questions like, what's wrong with your arm? Why are you doing that with your arm? Or why are you walking like that? Is your foot okay? Why are you limping? And I would make a few friends, and I was super talkative, and I just never really liked talking about my disability because it kind of shut me down. And I was like, I don't want to talk about this. Why am I different? That's weird. No one else has this but me. And so I would make friends, and then we would leave and go to the next state. And this was whenever we were in Louisiana for like pre-K to first grade. And so then once second grade started, we moved to Rhode Island, and that's where I really started to notice how mean and rude kids could be, even in the second grade. It was only elementary school. I was there from second grade to fourth grade. But it was really bad. I'll be honest, the bullying in Rhode Island, kids would make, I would sit by myself at lunch pretty much every day. No one would really talk to me. No one would come near me, all because of my disability. Kids would make a game. My whole grade would make a game like, don't go near him. You'll get what he has. And just like something like that. And kids would like say stuff to my face all the time. They'd call me a T-Rex arm because I hold my left arm like this. They would call me chicken leg or chicken arm. That was my nickname throughout the whole school. And it was really bad. And then towards the end of whenever we were leaving Rhode Island, a couple kids like said stuff to me and were making fun of me or something. And they like pushed me over and like tried running me over with a bike towards the end. And this is when my dad was already living in Texas, and me and my older brother and my mom were still in Rhode Island. And so that happened right before we left. That was probably one of the biggest things that happened. But it was really hard in Rhode Island.
Did your parents know that you went through all of that in school? Is that something that you told them about? Did you not tell them about it? Like you going through that and you know, first off, kids are the meanest people on the planet because, you know, we like to say, if you want to see what the world should act like at any given time, go look at a group of like 3 or 4 year olds on the playground. They're just having fun and having a good time, right? But once they get to kindergarten and first grade, they start to get personality, student. It gets crazy out of control, which is crazy. But did your parents know that you were going through that? Did you talk to them about that? Or is that something that you were just, you tried to get through on your own?
Whenever I first started school in like pre-K through first grade, I don't remember it as much. That's before the bullying really started. That's just when kids were asking questions, mainly like why like they're just genuinely curious. They're asking what's wrong with your arm and stuff. So I'm pretty sure I'd go home and ask my parents all the time, what happened to me? None of these kids look like this. And I'd probably say some of my friends that I had back then, they're not like this. Why am I like this? What happened to me? Why am I different? And they'd always tell me that I had cerebral palsy and that I had a disability, and that no matter what though in life, I could always do what I want. And they've always been by my side, and have always told me that. But then once we moved to Rhode Island, when that stuff kind of happened, I did have friends. I had a group about it was our neighborhood friends, and it was about 3 or 4 kids. But other than that, I really didn't have that many friends in Rhode Island. I honestly did not like Rhode Island at all.
Good man.
Well, the one thing I do want to highlight, and this is what's made this kid the man that he is today, especially where the parallel really strongly comes between us. When he was in 8th grade, you didn't want to tell that?
I was going to get to that.
Oh, go ahead. I'll shut my mouth.
Sorry.
I want to make sure you guys know, because this has made me so proud of him.
So back when all that stuff would happen, I'd get really upset about it, and it would kind of just shut me down. I wouldn't tell my parents. I just kind of let it happen at school, and I would never really tell them. But after we moved from Rhode Island and we moved to Texas, this was going into 5th grade. This is the first time kids like weren't really mean to me. They were honestly
to Texas, baby. Welcome to Texas.
And they were just very open. And I'm actually still really close best friends with my best friend since the first day I've been here. His name's Hunter as well. We are really good best friends. We have been for the past like 8 years. And when I moved here, it was weird. I went from a place where everyone made fun of me and bullied me for being different to now kids are all nice and they're just curious. They're more curious than making fun of me. And I made lots of friends. I really loved Texas whenever we moved here. And all the way through about 8th grade, so first 3 years, I was doing fine. Didn't have any bullying problems or anything. And 8th grade comes around, and this kid creates a TikTok account and he's going around cyberbullying all these people around school. And one day someone comes up to me and shows me their phone and they're like, look, this person, it was anonymous, no one knew who it was, but it was a kid in our grade, is making fun of your arm and your leg, calling me like a crippled B word, just making fun of my disability.
One-arm retard.
Yeah. And so back when we lived in Rhode Island, I would shut down and I wouldn't really, I'd get super upset. But instead this time, I started going to the gym, and instead of letting it shut me down, I started going to work out, and I would use that fuel of getting bullied all these years into putting it into the gym. And it really motivated me and pushed me to become stronger and stronger and sort of prove these kids wrong. And plus the doctors and prove them wrong, that I'm not just some crippled B word or one-arm retard. I'm way more than that, and I'll prove you wrong.
Well, the beauty of it is, I don't know if he would have even told me, but the police called me and the principal called me and they said, hey, this is what's happening to your son. Well, you know how I am, Ty. I'm ready to go kill the world. I'm going to find out, and I am going to find out whose father it was, and that's who I'm going to go after. Anyways, my wife and I had long, extensive talks with my wife. Just in the other room says, "Not kill him."
We were not going to do that.
Well, you know what I meant.
I thought he was going to talk to him.
He was going to take a country ass whooping. That's what was going to happen.
So Hunter, Lisa, and I talked to him, and we just said, "Hey, you could shut down right now. You could put your head in the sand, or you could get your butt in the gym." I worked out every day. I still do. Every day of my life. That's my safe place. That's my happy place. So Hunter, get in there. You've got, I'm not the biggest, but you've got my genetics. Here, you got your mom's genetics. Get in there and let's get you big. And at first he did, but then I've never seen a kid. He got obsessed and he started pushing it. And you know what? He's bigger than every one of those SOBs, especially the one individual that was doing it who, he's fine now, but Hunter, and what you don't know about Hunter, looking at this picture here, is that left leg, half that quadricep was taken out and half that calf was taken out, so he could, be able to walk with dystonia. I'm gonna tell you something. He's building muscle where there is no muscle.
Yeah, and you can tell that from watching him over the years and watching those videos. I've stalked y'all's social media, so I've seen the actual workout videos. Yeah, you can see that on his left side, there's muscle and symmetry. Even though you said the whole muscles have been removed, he's still got symmetry down there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm very proud of him. He did not put his head in the sand. He got in there and got big, and he has proven not just the doctors wrong, but he's proven those punks wrong. So
yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, what do all these doctors say once you guys go back and now he's walking and now he's working out in the gym? He's leading a he's a regular guy. He's doing cool shit. He's having a good time. What did the doctors say about this now? I'm sure it's probably going to be like, oh, it's a miracle because they're not smart enough in their education to tell you what happened. But do they have theories? Do they?
Well, we skipped some, obviously. It's just, we can't talk. Ty knows I can talk forever about my son and my family.
You got nothing but time.
Well, after we met with the moron, Dr. T is all I will say. We wound up leaving and getting my best friend's mom had contacts to get us into the Pediatric Stroke Center at Cook Children's. Greatest thing we could have ever done, at least second greatest compared to the stem cells. And we fell under the care of Dr. Fernando Acosta, the greatest neurologist I've ever seen. And Dr. Acosta never said he's going to be stuck in the wheelchair and be raised like the first doctor did. Dr. Acosta did kind of, give us management expectations, but he never, and he supported, like I said, he was the one giving him Botox shots. We had a surgery done in Minnesota by a specialist to try to get him to be able to walk. And that's when they took out part of his quadricep. That doctor flew up with us and partake in the surgery. That doctor has been by our side the entire time. So the original morons, that group, we left and we've never gone back. Dr. Acosta has changed his whole thought process. And this, even though he was a supporter and he never, ever said Hunter couldn't, but we send him videos and let him keep up with Hunter. And he says, you know what? Now when patients like Hunter come to me and say, I'd like to work out or play football, I tell them, look at this young man. You can do it too. Because, I mean, like I said, you've seen the long snapping video. I worked with him intensely, and he was a hell of a long snapper. He was a 3.5 star. But you know what? He found the love of bodybuilding, and he said something to me one time that just really hit home because I was disappointed. I wanted him to play. He said, Dad, the Great Wall of Bernie, which is the defensive line here that, school he plays for, the average person weighs 300 pounds. He said, I'm 180 pounds soaking wet. He goes, while they're not supposed to hit the long snapper, they do. And I've got videos and pictures of him going up against 300-pound men. And he goes, if they follow my leg wrong, I'll be in that wheelchair. And I'm like, holy crap. He hit home there.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah, no. I mean, the fact that you got to do that is amazing. Number one, the fact that you did it so well is even more amazing. And it just shows that's why I was saying when we came on here at the beginning of this show, when you guys started to introduce yourself, if you've ever said, I can't do it, it's too hard, I don't know, you don't understand what's against me, the world's against me, nobody gives me anything. I mean, go look at their Instagram and YouTube. Look at Hunter working out. And if you don't get inspired by that and go, oh, shit, well, I don't have any excuses now, then you're just going to live your life full of excuses forever because, I'm super proud of you, man. And I'm honored to know you. And I think it's just amazing, everything that you're doing. I mean, you have such a bright future of all the doors that you're going to be able to open up to do so many more amazing things. Like the best is yet to come. Isn't that the scary part, though? The best is yet to come. And so, I mean, my hat's off to you. I think it's amazing what you do.
He starts college in this next fall.
So. What college? Where are you going?
It's a college I've always been wanting to go to, so I was really excited about getting into it. I've been super interested in the marine biology for the longest time, and so I want to be a marine biologist. And the college, Corpus Christi, A&M.
Go Islanders, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's on an island.
Yeah.
And I got accepted like a few months ago. And what was cool about that, too, is this is a college I've always wanted to go to. And we applied like Monday night, I think. And I got accepted Wednesday morning. I told
dude. Look, I'll tell you what. The Islanders don't jack around, bro. You want to go to school there and you got a good resume, they're going to bring you. My son is at A&M right now. He's an Aggie, but he was in the PSA program. So he had to pick a college to go to before he went to main campus, and he went to Corpus for a year. And it was a great time, man. It's a small campus, so it's not super huge. They got a really good basketball team. I mean, it's a cool-ass place. And just so you know, we're closer than Dallas to Corpus Christi. If you ever need anything, you just got to holler, and we'll make sure we get it taken care of. So,
yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That's exciting.
Thank you so much.
All they do in Corpus is fish, right? Just saying. That's it. They go deep sea fishing all the time. That's a cool place. So, you go to college this year. So, do you plan on what are your plans, Hunter, for the bodybuilding that you're doing, the working out? You're going to continue to do that. What are your plans for that? And how are you going to juggle that and get an education to be a marine biologist? Because that's a hard ass degree to get, just saying.
So I think right now I'm in the teens category since I just turned 18. The teens category for bodybuilding is 13 through 19. And so after 19 in the organization I'm in, it's like 20 through like 40. That's a big gap of muscle maturity. A 40-year-old mature bodybuilder compared to a 20-year-old mature bodybuilder.
He's just old, bro. He's just old. Don't do that. He's just old. You got youth on your size, man.
But I think after teens, I'm going to take a few years off. That's not till I'm 19, though, so I still have another 2 Olympias to compete in, possibly. But I think I'm going to do those 2 and then take like a 2-3 year break and probably focus on school mainly and college and then get bigger as well. But I think later in life, when I get older and become an adult and get bigger, I possibly want to get my pro card. And that would be really cool to get my pro card as a bodybuilder with cerebral palsy.
That would be dope.
And understand, he's not just competing in the special categories. I mean, he does do the physically challenged standing, but he also competes against normal teen bodybuilders.
And then last year's Olympia, this year I got 3rd in the teens category throughout the world. And last year I got 2nd.
I love it. That is super cool, man. I tell you what, it's amazing to see how that works. I'm super happy to see how it's working out for you, man. It's going to be, and again, the future's bright, so bright. I do want to get into a little bit though, for the both of you, Glenn, Hunter. I know that Glenn, you said you work out every day. You've worked out your whole life. So Hunter, I'm interested and kind of curious. Did your first thought of working out come from seeing what your dad did in the gym? Did you ever go to the gym with him? Like, what got you into it? And then once you get through that, like Glenn, I'm sure you did like most dads. You're like, hell yeah, let's do it. But, so how did it all come about for you, Hunter? What made you decide working out was the thing you want to do? What got that into your mind? What made you start thinking about, like, I really want to try and do that?
We're fighting with a dog right now. My Labrador's trying his best to get on TV, or I'll get on.
Dogs are okay to get on TV.
Okay, go ahead.
To start off with, I always saw my dad and my brother working out, and my brother would always go to the gym with my dad, and they would always work out with each other. And I was like, I wonder if I can try that. And me and my best friend Hunter in the 7th grade, this is what really started me to get working out. And then freshman year, I took it more seriously. But me and Hunter, my friend Hunter, were like, let's do a contest. Let's see who can have the biggest biceps by the end of the school year. And so every night, my dad would have these dumbbells in like a 10-pound, 15-pound dumbbell in the garage, and I would just do bicep curls. I wouldn't do anything else but just like 100 bicep curls a night for like 6 months straight, because I really wanted to beat my friend in this contest. And that's what really started setting the foundation for me for working out. And then it was just a small fun thing me and my friend did. So we just kind of stopped after the school year. And I'd go to the gym with my dad like every 2-3 months, if that. And I would just get curious. But then once I got into freshman year, and after that cyberbullying happened in 8th grade, I was like, okay, I want to be bigger than these kids. I want to be stronger than them. And so I asked my dad if I could go start working out with him, and he didn't want to get me a membership quite yet. And so I started going with him, and I showed him that I really liked working out and that I was consistent with it. So he got me my first gym membership. And ever since then, me and my dad are always like at it with each other. And it's a fun contest we have just to see like who can curl more or something like that.
That's awesome. So when he started picking the weights up to try to get bigger biceps than the other Hunter part 2, what was going through your mind? Was there an initial light for you there, Glenn, where you're like, he's picking up weights right now? What's that all about?
No, I was loving it. It's one, like you mentioned, his older brother was a football star here and always in the gym. And now I've got both boys working out. It's my happy place. You put me, especially right now, my oldest boy's home. So when I'm at the gym and I got both boys there, it's like going back in time. It's great. So yeah, I got very proud seeing Hunter, and especially I knew he had the genetics. I used to have pretty big biceps, and he's got a 21-incher right now. So yeah, every day watching him defy, we have told him, my wife and I, We've told him since day one when they said he had cerebral palsy and he was going to be limited. No, son, you're not going to be limited. You're going to do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
You don't let the doctors tell you what you can't do. And one of the biggest pains in my pet peeves, butt or whatever, don't tell a kid what he can't do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You let that kid define his limits. Cerebral palsy doesn't define your limits. And I've told him that since day one. And Hunter, by God, has stood by that. He has defined the limits of cerebral palsy. So I'll get off my soapbox there, but just seeing him in the gym, like right now it's Christmas. I got both boys there. It's every day is Christmas for me.
Oh yeah, man. Listen, you can stay on that soapbox as long as you want, because when you have that kind of thing, I've been lazy since I got out of the Navy, right? And I'm like, work out. Nobody's making me run. I don't get chased by the cops. There's no need to run, right? So I'm like, I'm not doing it. But then my son loves the gym. He goes to the gym all the time, and he's been home for an internship in college this semester. And he's like, we're going to the gym. So I've been going to the gym with him, and it's just amazing to me. And I can see it in you, Glenn, with Hunter as well, is we went to work out a lot because, in the military, that's what you do. You work out, you do that all the time. A lot of times that's like your bragging rights, right? But now for me to get out, and I think I see the same in you guys, like the inspiration you get from your kids when they find that thing that they love and they go do it, and you can be a part of that. And the fact that your kids want you to be a part of it, you're like, okay, I'm not lame yet. I'm good to go. At least in this thing. There's other things I'm not, but it just for me is one of those things. And I'd be curious for you as well, is I'm being included in that, right? And that's not a lot of dads get to say that. They don't get included in a lot of those things, and those are meaningful things. And I mean, I'd just be interested to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, it's very meaningful, and it started, obviously with my oldest son. Like I said, he was an all-star athlete, played all 4 years of football and soccer. I played varsity the whole time in soccer, got 2 state championships, and he started working out. And God, it was just great. And just like Hunter, they wanted to work out with me. But eventually they broke off to where they'd still want to work out, but not with me. Hunter, he's got my kind of mentality, just like my oldest son. We don't like to break. We don't like to take time in between. We don't like to have a workout partner unless we're needing some kind of spot. So now, while we're not working out together, we are working out at the same time, and I'm getting to watch him. He comes up to me very proudly to show me what he's done. I help him sometimes with his posing and such. So I'm still being included. Yeah. And by God, I want to be included in anything these 2 young men will ever give me. And it's like, man, I can't get those times back. And there's, I was not the best father, and none of us were. And there's no book. And there was no book on how to raise a special needs child. My wife and I did exactly what we thought was important. Well, physical needs, sorry. I should have said that. The physical needs. And I'm proud of them. I mean, I can't wait to see both boys as fathers one day and see how they are. And that's part of it goes back to why I don't harbor any ill will with my father. It taught me that, you've got to be different as a father, and I've got to show my love and care. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I tell you, I mean, any time that you get the opportunity to see the growth and see the next steps that your kids take, seeing your children succeed in things. Ty's talked to this a lot with his kids. Al's talked about it with his, even though Al's UA today, I'll still say he does good shit. But to see them succeed in the things they're doing, there's a lot of times in their life when they're growing up where you're like, man, I hope they appreciate the stuff we do for them or how we've helped them and things like that, right? And then it comes around where when you see the gains that they've made, now they don't need to say thank you. You can just see it, right? And that's like that's the proud dad moment right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys have watched the show before, right?
Yes, I have. I kind of up a couple times. I've only
right.
So the hot seat.
Here
is that going to include Hunter and I?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
100%.
We'll go back and forth with a couple different ones.
There we go. Well, I'm going to bow out, and I will see you guys soon.
He's going to ask us 10 questions, roughly, and we don't know what the questions are, and we're going to be expecting the answer. He can be mean.
So normally we do it with just one-on-one, but we'll go back and forth today. Hunter, I love your story. I've been following you since I got on social media and started following your dad after I got out of the military. He was a wonderful leader. Obviously, he's a wonderful father. You're an inspiration. I appreciate everything you do. So let's get started with Colonel Moore. Of leadership, loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Which one is most important to you and why?
To be honest with you, as I've gotten older, and especially like where I'm at now, integrity. Because once you cross that line of transparency or integrity, or once you lose your credibility with the soldiers or the employees, the civilians, you're not getting that back. So I take and really go above and beyond to stay transparent with everything I do, no matter what the answer is. And part of this job, I take a 5-hour polygraph. So I learned that you've got to be totally honest with yourself, totally honest with your personnel.
Yeah, you've always been that way for sure to me. All right, Hunter, what is the best advice your dad has ever given you?
Definitely since I was little, it's always told me I can be whatever I want and I can do whatever I want in life, even with my disability. And he's always just told me the saying, that's where I got it from, prove them wrong. And people don't set your limits, you set your own limits, and you can do whatever you want in life.
Absolutely. It resonates with me, the battle that your dad fought with showing his dad that, damn it, he is going to be somebody, and the odds you have overcome is like I said, inspiring. This can be for both of you guys, but what is the most unique place on earth each of you have ever been?
We go first.
Yeah,
mine's kind of a tie. One would be Babylon. That was a big experience there in Iraq, obviously, for a lot of us, just because everything that it symbolizes in the Bible and such. The Tower of Babel and everything else, the oppressive Roman Empire and such. However, I was also very fortunate as a kid. Even though I say being a military brat was horrible, it wasn't always horrible. But we lived in Izmir, Turkey, and we were close to the city of Ephesus. And that is a well-known place in the Bible as well. It's got the home of Virgin Mary and such, and it's very unique. In my young eyes and heart, I felt like I was walking the same streets of, God and all the people that we read about in the Bible. But it was very unique. So it's kind of a toss-up there.
Yeah, excellent. Go ahead, Hunter.
Mine's definitely not that cool. I've never been out of the country, but probably Montana. I went there on vacation in middle school whenever I was younger, and it was really cool seeing all the wildlife there.
Yeah, the elk and everything. I had a bison burger I have an uncle that lives in Montana, so I had a bison burger way back when I was probably about 11 years old, and getting to see some of those elk and driving through Yellowstone and seeing the mountains, 15 miles behind my uncle's house. Yeah, that's majestic as hell. All right, if you had 1 hour to have one conversation with one person, who would it be, and what would it be about, Colonel Moore?
This was a tough one. It's a tough, obviously there's a lot in the history of time. I could go from George Washington and just talking to him for hours about his leadership during the Revolutionary War, what made him set the two terms of being a president, what was his vision, and what was his thought process in America, especially regarding the Constitution. However, with everything that we've been going through for the last few years, I think I'd rather talk to James Madison, who is considered the father of the Constitution. I want to know, just really and truly, I know there was others. There was George Washington, there was Ben Franklin, there was Alexander Hamilton, others that was involved, but he's called the father of the Constitution. And I just want to know, was it put there, did you write it and expect us to still today follow that word for word, because I feel like we do. We should. But you have people arguing it all the time. So I would like to get his thought process and what he was thinking when they all, as a collaborative team, put that together.
Absolutely love that answer. Hunter, what about yourself? One person, one conversation for 1 hour.
Mine's a little bit more personal, I think, probably, which would be my dad's mom, which is my grandma, which I call her Peepaw, but definitely her. She was super close with God. She's in heaven right now. And I think I would want to have a conversation with her on how to get closer to God and how to read the Bible better, and like just how she got so close and had such a great relationship with him.
And you know, before you go, I didn't speak much about my mom, but my mom was an angel. She had to put up with my father, who, like I said, was a very hard individual. And she took care of us as a family, my younger brother and my younger sister. God bless her. She's passed away as well. But I didn't mention much of my sister, my brother, and my mom, and they were wonderful. So, all right.
That's okay. We can have you back and do part 2, more comprehensive with Colonel Glenn Moore. As you can see, I wore my aviator glasses.
I like them.
You know, the aviator, rotary wing aviator, Colonel Glenn Moore. All right, so here's the next one. We'll lighten it up a little bit. What is your first concert, and what's your favorite concert?
You haven't been to one, huh? My very first concert, don't laugh, Nazareth. Now you're messing with a son of a.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, and that's when I was in Fort Polk as a young kid. Me and a friend was able to sneak off and go to that concert. My favorite concert would be my favorite band of all time, and that's Def Leppard.
Oh, nice. I like Def Leppard. There was Def Leppard was a big part of my 80s and 90s. So Rick Allen's one of my favorite drummers. You know, I talked to Tatum about Rick Allen. I say, you know, this Pyromania, this is when he had 2 arms, and then, you know, after on Hysteria he had 1 arm, and then we get into all that, and it's I love the whole story of Def Leppard.
Well, the story that I love the most is the fact they stuck with him after the accident.
Yeah, he said, "Hell no, I'm the drummer in Def Leppard. I'll learn how to play on an electrical kit. I'll retrain my neural pathways in order to figure out how to do the hi-hats with my left and right feet." And you know, it's an amazing thing to watch. But and the music is freaking awesome too. I don't think we've ever talked about Def Leppard on the podcast, so thanks for bringing that up, sir.
What did General Hickman answer that one?
I don't think I asked him the first concert. We were keeping it pretty professional. We were like, it was a lot of fun. And so, Hunter, you've not been to a concert?
I've never been to a concert, and if I have, I was probably really little and I don't remember it.
He went to some Fort Polk, but he doesn't remember.
Oh yeah, I remember all those Fort Polk concerts on the 4th of July. That's a lot of fun. So, what is your go-to workout playlist?
Definitely like old school rock. My favorite songs right now that I listen to every day pretty much in the gym is Hell's Bells by AC/DC, Highway to Hell, and just pretty much just AC/DC.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with AC/DC. So a short story here. I have a 13-year-old son, and he's, you know, even though he's one of 6 children, he's 9 years younger than my youngest daughter. So he's kind of like an only child. And so you would think he would be into all the brand new stuff because he's only 13. But this kid's favorite band that I hear blaring at 6:30 in the morning when he's taking a shower is Metallica. Not only is it Metallica, but it is, you know, and Justice for All. It's One. It's all the old stuff. And so, you just, I raised them well. So,
and I love it because both boys they love the good music. So,
yeah, absolutely. All right, sir. This next one is just going to be for you, probably. What's the biggest habit that you developed in the military that you've carried over to your civilian life, even though you're still commander of a military installation, what is the biggest habit that you've carried over to your civilian life that's helped you in life?
Well, I would have to say, and really, it's nothing, glamorous. But as you know, in the military, we always got everything ready, laid out, and prepared to go the night before, from starching your uniforms, depending on when you came in, to shining your boots, and getting everything ready for the next morning. Well, here I have about a 30-minute routine because I have to get up early, about 5 o'clock in the morning, get ready to go to work. I try to be one of the first ones there to set the example. I'm not a morning person, so therefore I do it. But every night I go and I get everything ready, from my coffee pots, as I drink a pot and a half every day, and get all the coffee cups ready. I get my breakfast ready, my lunch ready. I get my vitamins and supplements together. I get you name it. I even lay the color of underwear that I'm gonna wear in the bathroom, so that when I get out of the shower, I'm putting on my underwear, going straight to where my clothes are laid out, and putting those on, going to the coffee. I got a routine. I can get in and out of here in about 18 minutes. And that's just something I learned in the military.
Yeah, I can relate to that, and that is the coolest story ever, because we do a lot of things that are very repetitious. So yeah, that's amazing. So here's another one that could be for Hunter too. But what was your favorite rotary wing aircraft that you ever piloted?
For me, obviously, Chinook. It's it was my go-to-war platform. I flew to Huey and I flew to 58. They were cool, but once you go into combat and you learn what bravery really is in that airframe, or whatever airframe you're going to that scene in, it becomes your favorite. And I'm gonna tell you, plus it's the fastest helicopter in the military. So by far, it's the Chinook. I've got about 2,000 hours in a Chinook. I probably got 400 in a Huey and probably 300 in a 58.
Well, I hope my air assault badge or wings don't get taken away for this. But doesn't the Chinook go about 212 or 202 miles an hour or something like that?
No, you'd have to transfer it from, obviously knots to miles. I think it's more like 190, 195. But again, I could lose my instructor pilot's license here because I haven't flown anything since 2014. So you're close. I'm close. I don't know what the exact answer is anymore. I used to.
I remember them going up and down Highway 1 from a place called Palm Springs is before Iskandariyah. We were just south of Baghdad, and you would just see these things screaming down the road, and and then after that, you'd see the other little birds or 58s or the longbow, Apache longbows and everything. But yeah, I always thought the Big Windy was badass. So yeah,
that was my first unit. Was Big Windy.
Absolutely. All right, last question here. And this is pretty contentious on the podcast here. Who's the greatest of all time, Prince or Michael Jackson?
Oh, that's what I was saying. That's Prince. His halftime show at the Super Bowl is my favorite show yet. You can't even compare the two in my eyes. So, Prince.
It's pretty contentious, but as you can see, Prince is up 45-38 now in the in podcast number 129.
Well, that's good. I'm proud. I mean, I like I said, that's my favorite halftime show, and I remember one time I got called out of the blue by Major General Hickman after a jump in which we one of the jumps with we had all the congressmen and senators there, and we had someone to come out that they couldn't find. And they found he'd gotten busted up. He had to use his reserve, anyways. And I can remember General Hickman asked, "Okay, Chief, give us a quick prayer." Well, it put me on the spot, and I'm usually not put on the. I mean, I'm usually good at being put on the spot. And I started it off by Prince. dearly beloved, we are gathered here today and went into a prayer. And I used a lot of Princess from that song. And I had this congressman come and goes, that was the most beautiful prayer I've ever heard in my life. You are definitely close to God. And I'm thinking, oh, sir, if you only knew that was from Prince or most of it.
You know, the one, Doctor, everything going to be all right. Yeah, exactly. Hey, so excellent answer. I love it. So last question before we get out of here with the hot seat. What can we do to get better at our podcast?
You know, I don't, like I told you up front, I think it's great, but, you know, status quo is the enemy of perfect, you know, of getting better. The only thing that I would like to see, possibly, and maybe you've done it, maybe you have, you just didn't have anybody want to ask questions. Make it a little bit more interactive. I noticed that when I first started talking, it popped up from somebody saying he deserves a medal for working with Bobby Parks. Well, I started laughing, but you know, I didn't get the chance to tell you why I was laughing. But, you know, make it interactive possibly where people can call in and say, hey, you know, I got a child with cerebral palsy. What can I do about this? Or what advice do you have? You know, and maybe that's a bridge too far. Does that make any sense?
Hell no, that sounds great. And we record all these and we watch them back, and we want to get better because, you know, we have big plans, but, you know, we've never really talked about calling in and having interactive, because here's the thing is, like, whether you're a service member, whether you're a spouse, whether you're a child of, you know, I have 6 children. I am trying to get my 6 children to come on here and tell their story. So all the different stories we have and being able to connect people, yeah, that's exactly the aim. So I appreciate that insight. Sir, you've officially graduated from the TTV hot seat. Let me bring Matt back in. What do you think about that?
Well done. What do I think about bringing people on to the show in the middle of it to interact? I think we can continue to send out comments, but you and I both know if you invite one, you got to invite them all, and that could turn out to be
I'm not
crazy.
saying you invite them on. I'm talking about people call in, maybe call in and say, I don't know. And
well, no, I mean, we
I have some notes right here, and you know, we talk about all the time that we want to be a podcast that, you know, we don't want to talk politics, but we don't want to shy away from anything. We want to talk about all the veteran on veteran hate that goes on the internet and things like that, and people talking down the VA without really knowing, you know, what programs they have. We're a show that wants to talk about the positives. So I have here, one of the things I do want to talk about is shit talk that the veteran community has. And if you want to come on and debate it, I'd love to wax poetic with you. So it's funny that you say that.
Well, like I said, I laughed when somebody at the beginning of it said he deserves a medal for working with Bobby Parks. God bless Bobby Parks. I loved him. He was my XO.
Yeah, and Bobby Parks was he was in my chain of command a couple different times. He was my first sergeant once at 561st. He signed my 101st MP company lifetime certificate when I was at Fort Campbell. So, and we deployed together I think a couple times. And so when I got to Fort Polk, and you know, we didn't even get to the people, the leaders, the interaction that you had with, you know, I did the multifunction device and cell phones. So just the whole leadership network and everybody knowing everybody working together, like Joe Schwenkhaus, the protocol guy. I remember so many people just,
you know,
you had a great team.
We had a great team. And what people don't realize.
That's the reason we get part 2. See what I'm saying? That's how it works out.
A lot of people don't realize about Fort Polk. It gets a bad name. Their whole mission in life is put you through the suck and get you ready to go into combat. So that's what 85,000 roughly plus or minus people a year, that's all they see is the suck with all those mosquitoes and the heat, the nastiness. But it's getting them ready for combat. Let them make the mistakes here in the land of Louisiana versus in theater. However, those of us that's been stationed there, I loved it. Family time, the amount of money for MWR that's put out for the families. And how many times did we have soldiers fight like hell to get out of Fort Polk? They got forced anyways. And then within a year and a half, 2 years, they were coming to my office and saying, sir, can you call HRC for me, please? I want to be extended here. I mean, it was a pretty good duty station.
Yeah.
Good old Leesville, Louisiana, boy.
Yeah.
Well, I was a DeRitter Dragon when I was.
Oh, he was a DeRitter Dragon. Okay.
7th, 8th, and 9th grade. That's why I was mad when my dad retired and brought me to Texas. But
Yeah, I was a Leesville Junior High alumni, and then
All
a
right.
freshman at Leesville High School. I actually went to high school when Cecil Collins was there. If you remember that football.
Oh
player.
yeah, I know that when I first took over to Garrison Command, the PAO did a headlines in the DeRitter newspaper and said, "DeRitter boy does good." I'm like, really? You put that as the headline?
Yeah. He had to appeal to the masses in northern Louisiana. DeRitter boy done good. They're like, oh, he did real good, you know.
But you know what? The people around there are wonderful. I'm still close friends with a lot of them, like Mike Reese and Chris Robinson. I mean, they're genuine people. Just and they love the military. By God,
I remember going to Toledo Bend a lot.
Yeah.
Leaving out there and going on the lakes. I remember the thing I remember about Toledo Bend is you'd go out there to the lake and you'd go fishing or jet skiing or whatever. And I used to remember all those Louisiana guys that are out there had those massive catfish heads just nailed to trees, kind of letting you know, like, yeah, that's what we catch out here, you know? I used to be like, dang, I mean, those heads were massive. Now, I was a young kid, so maybe they weren't that big, but to me, they were like, I was like, did he catch a shark? Like, no, that's a catfish. Then you find out later, after you get into the internet, they were probably noodling, right? Just sticking their arm down their throat and pulling them out, probably.
Well, I'm not doing that, and I'm not scared of much, but I'm not messing with that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm good. If they can bite the line, we'll pull it out, but we're not going to get in the water and play with them. No,
I'm not sticking my hand in a damn hole in the water. There's no telling what you're going to get out of there.
Yeah, you're right. Could be a gator. It's Louisiana. You know what I mean?
That's right. But anyways, Ty, I appreciate you reaching out to us. The time we spent together at Fort Polk was it's probably the best 3 years of my life there because it was just a great group. And like I said, General Hickman is my favorite boss I've ever had. I've learned more from him than all my bosses combined. I can tell you, though, he was a hard one to work for initially, but once you built his trust, man, he really lets you run your show, and he just really taught me a lot.
Yeah, I want to show this before. Actually, one before I show that. So the thing I remember about General Hickman and him empowering people once he did trust you, because of the fact that you were the garrison commander, he was the commanding general for joint. JRTC, there's a lot of training units come through there. When anything happened, there would always be VTCs. And once I got to G6, I ended up being his VTC guy. And so, he had phone and internet in his house. And if that went down, we had to fix it. So once I proved myself, we would be in these big meetings with General Milley or something, and something would go wrong. And General Hickman would just point at me and say, talk to that NCO right there. And that was the coolest shit ever. It's just like, that's some Scarface gangster shit that I just loved that he'd be
like I said, once he got your trust, for instance, you talked about to him, what's it like to be around all the politicians? Let's be honest. General Hickman's not a politician. Glenn Moore is not a politician, but you know what? We had a whole lot of staffers, congressmen, and senators always coming through there. And General Hickman told me after about the first 2 visits saying, Garrison Commander, you're basically the mayor of this place. This is now your job. You handle the politicians. I'm like, oh, great, man. I'm going to make the Washington Post for saying the wrong things. But he just had that kind of trust and faith once you earned that.
Yeah, it was because of the op tempo that we had for all those years. I was back on orders to go back to Fort Campbell again for an 8th deployment. And so I was glad to be able to get out of the military from Fort Polk, have all the leadership that were fully vested in me because, I did my job well. They allowed me to transition well. And so we always talk about, growing up in the military, why we got into the military, what happened when we were in the military, when we started our family, all the PCS, TCS, TDY, and year and 15-year-long deployments. But you dealt with all that, and then you look at how strong your family life is, both your boys, and I'm just I want to show this picture, and I kind of want to get your thoughts of what does this do for both of y'all's heart?
That's kind of just part of, like I said earlier, our contest that we have. My dad likes to pose next to me.
Well, the truth of the matter is, let's be honest. You got a 17-year-old kid there against a 60-year-old man. But you know what? I'm proud of him. The bigger he gets, the more leaner he gets. Just like with my older son, I want them both to do better than I am. However, what this brings out to me is that I've got to put my money where my mouth is. When he was 15 and stepped on stage, he was scared to death. I told him all about, bravery is nothing more than, facing your fear head on and doing it anyways. That's how we do it in combat. And I told him, you get on that stage, you perform, and you do this. When I turn 60, we'll do a father-son. Well, damn, he hasn't forgot. So that was us goofing off because I turned 60 January 17th, and we're talking about possibly doing the show in June.
But as you can see, he's covering his legs in that photo.
He's got the joggers on. He don't want to bring them out yet.
Well,
he's got that Kevin Hart going up top. Ain't a joke.
So, man, I appreciate it. I guess you got that off the internet too.
Man, I tell you, I really like with people that I like, that I keep in touch. I've got your phone number. I text you for random ass shit sometimes. And I appreciate your leadership. So I'll never forget that. Impression. Hold on. Let me finish this, sir. The impression you made on me is not something that most officers do. Like I've had the honor of serving some very well-known general officers and brigade commanders, but the impression that you made on me with just your overall leadership as a garrison commander, when most of the time you don't hear great things about garrison commander. Normally they're waiting for a different command, and sometimes it can be very gruff. And we all know that the colonel is kind of the most intimidating rank in the Army, and you made that very approachable. And I learned a lot about what garrison means, and that helped me in my transition because I was so focused on deploying back to back, being right there next to the garrison command office and having to consider contracts and what that meant. It definitely helped my transition a lot more than just being plopped out of the military. So your leadership helped that. Fort Polk did. Let me just say this directly into the camera. Fort Polk's a great place. If you're in the military, go to Fort Polk. It's wonderful. The training environment is top notch. And if you're airborne, you can jump a little bit if you're on the staff or in 509th. They wear cool uniforms and they still jump sometimes. Geronimo. So go to Fort Polk.
I just want to tell you thank you. That means the world to me, especially coming from you. As I stated up front, you are the consummate professional. You are what a senior non-commissioned officer should be, but not everybody is. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, the same goes for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Glenn Moore retired and Hunter Moore. And good luck. And we will definitely we'll definitely be looking for an update when you do the father-son.
Yeah, Ty, I need their info after we get off, because when they go do this father-son show, we need to outfit them in some stuff.
Oh yeah, we'll get them taken care of. Okay, hey, before we let y'all go, we're not gonna have you be a part of our whole picking of all the games we're doing, but who you got in the number 16 USC versus TCU in the Alamo Bowl on 30 December?
You know damn well who I got.
USC.
I bleed purple, and it's going to be TCU, and I think it's going to be, I'll go with 31-17.
Nice.
Oh, bold prediction. I'm going to write that down. We'll put
the ass whooping on them Southern Californians.
Josh Hoover's going to, first of all, that's our house. I mean, you think about the upsets we've had over the last 10 years there, like when Oregon had us down and we came back to win. Alamo Dome that is our house, and we're going to defend it.
Are you going to be there?
Are we going to be there?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. We got tickets. We're taking the whole family. We go to every bowl game. We was even there for the worst game of my life, the national championship, but we were there.
Oh, I mean, listen, you guys made it there. How many teams get to say they made it to the dance, dude?
Well, my wife is from Georgia, as you know, and she just yelled, "Go Dogs!"
Brag much? Brag much?
Down the street. All right,
Bulldogs.
Hey, Glenn, and Hunter Moore. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate you coming on, and we'll get an update from you next year.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Right. Y'all be good. How about that, man?
It's always awesome, man. But when you get to see inspirational stuff like this and see where people don't have to take the initial I don't like to say diagnosis or this is what's going to happen or this is the only thing that you can do about it. There's always options, right? And if you work hard enough, you can overcome anything. And it's amazing, man. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I won't say it while he's on here, but Colonel Moore said he ain't got big arms. Look at these big freaking arms. This was recent.
Yeah, bro. Like, listen, at the end of the day, you could tell both of them sitting there, like, welcome to the fucking gun show, dude. I'm just saying.
That dude's almost 60 years old. I'm 50 this year, and I feel terrible because of that. Let me look at that one more time. I hope they win. I hope they go to that competition and absolutely kick ass.
Yeah, I want to go. We can go be those guys like in Happy Gilmore 2 where we just don't understand bodybuilding, but we'll be in the back like screaming and yelling and cheering, and people are like, what's going on? It'd be like air horns, you know what I mean? We'll just be in the back just getting it.
Yeah, well, I'll get you their information. We'll get them some cool gear for it.
Yeah, bro.
You ready to do some of the sports?
If I must, yes. But I want you to go ahead and show the regular season.
Oh yeah, we'll get to
ending.
Yeah.
Oh, and right. By the way, real quick before we move on, if Glenn, Hunter, and everyone wants to hang out till we're done with picks, we do talk to everybody after, so you don't have to hang up if you don't want to. We're just going to get through this, and we can talk to you guys after if you want to stay on for a couple minutes.
Yeah, we'll run through this real quick.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So in the sports,
who's number one?
Yeah, so just because this was one of the tiebreakers, we ended up not needing it. This is tiebreaker number 2, but Mendoza did win. I do believe that I guaranteed victory.
I know you did
on that, and
Cole was happy that it won, dude. Listen, I wanted Jeremiah Love to win because he's not a fucking quarterback. Period. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. And then that's the thing is like when they, how I was watching the competition, they were kind of showing his story, and his story is cool as hell. Jeremiah Love. So I was kind of in the pregame. I was like, maybe I do hope he wins, but I knew Mendoza had won it.
We know you're smart and shit. That's probably that's the one pick you got right this year, bro.
All right. Army lost to Navy 16-17. The overall points are 33. Matt picked 42. So by default, even though they both picked Navy.
Default?
Well, I mean, by not.
Through skill and intellectual sports knowledge.
Say that again.
Through skill and intellectual sports knowledge. I know that Al's going to have to look all those words up. I'm the winner, bro.
Yeah, I'll be sure to play that for him next week. That's
damn right.
Yeah, so you are the champion, do the tiebreaker, Matt Johnson, 2025 regular season champ. But let's go ahead and get into the next week's games.
Playoffs.
So we're going to pick a couple of the games that are on the 27th and 30th, just because some of us may not be here for the next couple of weeks. We may have some intermittent shows there.
Word.
So Memphis State and NC State, who you got?
Shit. I'm going NC State.
Okay, I also picked NC State, and hopefully Al's not watching live, but he's supposed to have sent
He's writing this down right now, bro. You know how it goes.
Saying, like, see, did he send me his stuff? Yeah, he sent me his stuff.
Nice.
All right, so Al picked NC State.
God bless America.
All right, so we're all the same there. All right, next game, LSU and Houston. This takes place on the 27th of December. It's the Texas Bowl.
U of H, bro.
All right, gotcha. I am not picking U of H. I am picking LSU, and I'll pick LSU.
Y'all losing that one, homie.
We might, but you never know. Like, I mean, you got to think that there's going to be some interaction and some razzle-dazzle.
Things being played in Houston, Texas, dude.
I got you. That doesn't matter. This is an SEC team, though. Yeah, okay. I'm falling back on the SEC sword there. Like,
I know that you are, but let's just be honest. That SEC team completely gave up this year. So I'm glad you guys picked them. And
Yes.
I'm probably going to get shit because I'm going to be in that state like this weekend. You know what I mean?
I thought for sure you'd pick them since that's kind of one of your teams.
They suck.
I mean, that's what your golf bag is, LSU.
It sure is. I'm about to trade it in for a Houston one to keep messing around.
Hey, I'm telling you, I may use your golf bag next year because Lane Kiffin. I'm going to be watching every LSU game, and if you don't pick them to pick next year, I'm picking them because Lane Kiffin is, other than the shit, like I don't know, like how it went down, but Lane Kiffin is definitely the coach to watch at LSU for me next year.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, here we go. Let's get through this. USC and TCU. We saw that Colonel Moore chose TCU. He is what are they called?
He's a horn frog.
Horny frog. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pick. I don't like USC, so I'm picking TCU. I don't know.
USC's winning that game, homie.
Okay. Yeah, this is like a Kentucky thing. I can't pick against Kentucky. It's very hard. All right.
I'll pick.
Let's see. Who did he pick? He picked USC.
God damn it.
All right. Next games. This is where it's going to get interesting.
Why are they so small?
What? Oh no, not that one. Sorry. That's the teams that's Texas A&M's in the college football playoff. Notre Dame.
Oh, gotcha.
All right, James Madison, Oregon. Who you got?
Oregon.
All right, let's see. Yeah, I'll pick Oregon as well, and I am absolutely picking Oregon. I just hope James Madison doesn't get hurt too bad. If they pull off an upset, I'll be amazed. All right, here's what'll get contentious, I think. Alabama, Oklahoma. Who you got?
Bama.
All right. You got Bama. Albert picked Bama. I already know I'm picking Oklahoma. God. I talked to Al about this earlier.
Dang it, Albert.
Yeah.
Listen, Bama is battle tested through tradition in playoffs, bro. Oklahoma, I think they're just lucky to be there, dude. So is Alabama, but
yeah. Well, I just think that Oklahoma's defense. I don't think Alabama's going to be able to score on Oklahoma. So that's the problem I have, and they're going to have. This is a make or break game though for their coach. If Alabama loses, I think or whatever his name is,
bro, he's there next year. They made the playoff. He's there. You know what I mean? He's good.
Okay. Yeah, but I guess you can't compare him to Nick Saban. That's
no, fair. Dude. If that was the case, he would have been fired after game one, dude.
Yeah, and that's how spoiled the Alabama fans are. I'm not even an Alabama fan, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So yeah. All right, Tulane on this. Who you got?
Go Green Wave.
No way, for real?
Hell yeah. Lane Kiffin can't coach the game. He's gone. All those dudes are pissed at him. This is the game Oklahoma takes a massive dump, dude. Or Ole Miss takes a massive dump. They're losing that game, dude. I'm telling you.
Okay, I think Charlie Weiss Jr. is staying the OC, and so he's going to be he's going to be playing. They're going to be playing their same offense. So
okay, but let's
see what happens.
Let's ask a question though: is Lane Kiffin an offensive-minded or defensive-minded coach?
Offense.
And Lane Kiffin is all about being all on top of everything that happens in these programs, and he is 100% involved in all of that. So even though they have the same offensive coordinator, it is not going to be the same swagger that offense is walking out the door with, dude. There is chinks in the armor when they don't have Lane Kiffin on the sideline to pump them up, motivate them, and have them walk through shit. If they start bad, it's over, dude. Lane Kiffin was able to rally the troops. You know what I'm saying? If they start bad, it's not going to be good. And they were suspect towards the end of the year too now. They almost got beat by Mississippi State, bro.
I want to argue this more, but I also want to talk the Moors there. Did they already get off? Oh,
I think they got off.
All right, so I want to argue that more, but I'm afraid that my argument doesn't hold that much water because your points are pretty solid, so I'll just let that one go. But I am picking Ole Miss, and Al's picking Ole Miss as well.
Oh, okay.
All right, so here we are, Miami and Texas A&M. I'll let you go first. Who you got?
Gig 'em Aggies, bro.
All right.
We're playing in College Station. The only thing is why would you do a day game with the Aggies in the fucking playoff, bro?
don't know. Do they like playing day games better there? Or?
Bro, playing at night at Kyle Field is like playing at night at Death Valley at LSU, bro. There is no experience like it. I mean, it's still going to be electric. It's going to be great. But, dude, a night game at Kyle Field would have been the shit, dude. They're still going to win, though. Carson Beck's going to go home crying.
Yeah, possibly. Albert picks Miami.
Fuck him.
And Ty, because I'm trying to win, I'm picking A&M. So
man, you finally figured it out, dude.
Yeah. Well, I got if I would have won or competed in the regular season, I may have still about this pick. But since I got my ass beat by, I think, 20 games, then I'll do that.
I don't know, man. What I don't know what it was about you this year, dude. Like you were, I think you thought about it too much, bro.
Well, yeah, I was 21 games back.
Yeah, but you were 500, bro. Like you were good. You were on the cusp of being in a winning record.
Yeah, you were the champ. I got our picks there. And also our 2 fantasy league football teams, terrible. I think I'm like 9th place out of 11-1 and 11th out of 11 and nothing.
I'm playing Becky for 3rd place in mine.
Yeah.
I'm playing my wife for 3rd place. She's gonna freaking beat me, huh?
Maybe I need to concentrate more on the fantasy football and the picks than I do getting us good ass guests. You know.
No, I think I'd rather you be pissed off about football picks, if I'm being honest. You know what I mean?
All right, future guest next week for the December 25th show. We're going to have Jason Bobo, Army Military Police. I mean, this is a strong-ass human. I hung out with him when I went to and competed with the JC's Good Old Boys at the Jack Daniels World Championship Invitational Barbecue. I forget. It's a long-ass name. But great Lynchburg, Tennessee. Great
what
dude.
What does he do for Jack Daniels?
He is a barrel roller. So this guy was an MP, big ogre, like huge man. Like, you know, I'm a big dude. He makes me look small, but he's very muscular. And even at 45 years old now, you know, he came and met me at the Jack Daniels, and I like, holy shit, dude, you're a big old motherfucker. You know, I remember him being big, but yeah, you'll see him. You'll see him.
I need to talk to you about this dude. I have an unusual question for him.
Yeah, we'll talk to him this week.
Yeah.
And then after that, on the 1st of January, we're going to have the Don Tom Clark, one of the mentors that got me into Texas barbecue and one of my best friends here in the great state of Tomball, Texas. I call him the Don because he knows everybody.
And an all-around American patriot, dude.
Yeah.
He's the man, dude.
He's a gentleman. Like
hell yeah, bro.
When I've been best friends with him for about 8 years now since I moved here. He's one of the first people I met. But let me turn the picks off and get to the close music. So, you know, I met him 8 years ago whenever, you know, we first started going to the VFW and just the care that he has for veterans. Like when Hero's dad came out and competed at the Danny Dietz, just the VIP treatment that he gave Al Hero's dad and Al Hero himself and me. But this dude loves veterans. He does mentorship in the barbecue game for veterans. So we're going to have him on. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great show for me because he's one of my best friends here.
Yeah, hey. He's the man, dude. He is the man.
Here we go.
He's the man.
JC's Good Old Boys.
He's got a kick-ass logo, too.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Hey, man. I appreciate you doing this show. I'm glad you got to see Colonel Moore. I'll be sure and get you his information. But yeah,
Al Hero, you're on your 3rd and final, which means in the civilian world you could be fired tomorrow. Just kidding. We love you, buddy. I hope you're driving safe.
Go ahead and take us out, bro.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. And if you didn't get to listen to this one live, or you did listen to it live, this is one that you're going to want to go back and listen to again. Hunter, you're an amazing human being, and I am super proud of the things that you've done in the future that you have. And Glenn, you are an American hero, and we appreciate both of you coming on and telling your story. I can't wait to have him back on so that we can talk about some deployment stories now and learn a little bit more about his military career. But thank you everybody for joining. We really appreciate it. We're almost to Christmas. So remember, check on your friends, check on your battle buddies. The holidays is different for everybody. Keep that in mind and make sure that you're checking on your loved ones and the people you served with. And help us help a veteran organization. We're almost to the end of the year. We've only got a couple more weeks. And so if you have the holiday spirit in your heart and you like to help nonprofits, go buy one of these gosh darn t-shirts. My wife's been telling me saying the GD word too much. So go buy some t-shirts. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate all of the support, and can't wait to talk to you again very soon.
Yeah, normally I don't take part in this part, but I want to say in remembrance of Chris Farley, who died December 18th, 1997. In the military, you know, you kind of watch a lot of movies, and in this movie, all of his movies were mainstays and things you watched 150 times during deployment. So if you need help, ask somebody, not call in, but hit us up on our social media. We have a lot of things. Don't suffer alone, and we love you. We'll see you next week.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255, then press 1.